here. Peace, YouTube. Can you... I never know when I come on right away. I kind of see it. Oh, there we go. Peace, YouTube. This is FleurBrun coming to you today with new topics of discussion. Check on it. Hey, everybody. Hope everybody's well. Okay. I'll wait until a few minutes. I know I do impromptu videos. And I have videos coming up on Rumble. So if you want to go to the Rumble, go over Rumble. It took me a while to upload. I remember, y'all, I'm not that... I have more hands up, likes, than I have people that are showing up. Peace, everybody. Peace. Peace to the east, west, north, to the south. This is FleurBrun. Hey, Melissa. Hey, Cheryl. Peace, peace, peace. Check on in. I had some time. Look, I have more likes in the video than I have people showing up. Yo, YouTube is a hater. Yo, YouTube is... Big up to YouTube for really pressing their foot on this channel. Am I really that diabolical, YouTube? My God. I work with the NPCs. Oh, just, you know, make sure you got some Florida water and spray those suckers. Check on in. Hey, Yafi. Shalom. Hey, everybody. Check on in. I'll wait a while. I'm going to do a Q&A because there's a lot of people. I don't know if someone shared my channel. You know, a lot of times, let me say this. I love y'all because you've been with me for a lot of you have been with me since I was on here in like 2011 and 12 or 13 or 14. Some of you have been with me for a while, so you know me already, but there are people like writing me questions, so I'm going to do a Q&A before I start the topic, if that's okay. There are people who have questions and again, I don't know if they're coming from another channel. You guys can tell me. I don't know if someone shared. Sometimes what happens is that people will share my videos to other platforms that may have not known I'm here. Who's to say? Radiation wizards in the house. What's good? We're talking about radiation wheat. It's right in alignment, so check on it. So I'll do the Q&A first, if that's okay with you guys. Please put a handy dandy like on a video if you like the topic today. Like I said, I made videos for Rumble. It takes me a while because I'm not used to the platform. Going live is a lot different on there. So I know there's a lot of people who came and have supported me on Rumble. I love that. And it's not because I don't want to do Rumble videos. It's because I'm not, you already know, I'm trying to be more proficient technologically. Hey, AJ. So just be patient with me because I'm a little more seasoned. Someone told me I was lying, so I'm going to answer questions first. I'm going to do a Q&A first, and then we'll get into the diabolical topic, okay? If that's okay. People have wrote down questions, and I'm going to answer some. So if this is if someone can do a timestamp to when I start the topic of radiation wheat and water, which I'm going to get into. It's going to be very interesting. Just put the timestamp when I start that topic. I'm going to do Q&A first, okay? Because again, I don't know why there's so many people asking certain questions. I've just been on a long time. So maybe they just came to me in this sector, okay? So first question, hold on. First question is, are you a reptilian? Am I a reptilian? Let me state this. I am absolutely no, let me say this. I personally acknowledge that I probably have a lot of reptilian qualities and some DNA, like a lot of people in here, probably less than most. That's answering that question. I don't want to go too far into it because I have a lot of questions that people ask me. Okay, so someone asked me about being an Andromedan and how is that connected to the extraterrestrial groups. So Babette's trying to get on a bed as we speak. So as I've talked about it, I've been a contactee from the Andromedans, which is basically kin to the Anunnaki of the Niburians. Remember, I've told you that Nibiru is a Babette. Hold on, I gotta get Babette up here. Okay, Babette's happy. That bit always has to shine. Okay. I've been a contactee of Andromedans since a little girl, since the beginning. They are kin to what you consider to be Niburians. Niburians are a multitude of different species on a ship. Nibiru, you like to say it's Planet X. Some of you call it the Anunnaki homeworld. Needless to say, I've been in contact with them for a while. So many of you know that I talk about the Anunnaki, the Niburians. It's, you know, Anunnaki is like a very generic term, and Niburians, but I am in contact specifically who has seeded me from the Andromedans. And that is, I know that, I think Alex Collier also says he is a contactee of Andromedans as well, but he is in contact with Andromedans that he perceives to be bald blue beings. So my Andromedans are women, different hues of women from light tan to dark brown. They have usually dreadlocks or twists in their hair. They come originally from a version of Earth, another version of Earth originally, and they left. And they have, they still have a connection to the ant beings. So I know that you see the Hopi also have a connection to the ant beings, which are a form of insectoid. So I'll just answer that, that's it. FleurBrun, are you an agent? Are you an agent working for the dark ops government? They asked me if I'm working for the dark op or government. I'm assuming they mean government. I absolutely in zero way have ever been connected to any governmental officials, any governmental organization. I am not paid. I haven't ever been paid by any government to ever speak. So that is to answer that question. Absolutely zero. I have zero connection to any governmental, there isn't any governmental officials paying for me. I haven't ever been a part of any government, whether it's dark ops, CIA, FBI, zero, okay? So I know a lot of people come on and say, how does she know all this information? Well, if you knew me for a while, so like some of the others did, you already know I've been on in this neck of the woods for a long time, and I'm a contactee. So that's where I get a lot of my connection and information, is because I've been zested by the others. I have a lot of awareness that's beyond what normal people maybe have access to. Are you part of a cult, or do you have some sort of, what is it? Wait, they said, are you part of a cult, or did you start a digital cult? Absolutely zero. I haven't ever had a cult or group connected to a cult. I do have a group on Zoom, and I've had another group on FB for a while, which is the Cypher group. I think this started with a young lady years ago who was talking about that I was part of a digital group because she was upset that I wasn't promoting her and that I wasn't allowing her to feed or parasite off of my group financially. So what happens a lot of times, y'all, when people are upset, 90% of the people online who may have an issue with me, who I call the haters, these are people who have been removed from groups from being diabolical, being racist, being nasty, or just basically trying to use my platform or my group to try to leverage their themselves. So a lot of times you'll hear people make things up. I haven't ever had a cult. There isn't anybody who's culting with me. You know what I mean? Everybody is. I have a lot of moms, though, and a lot of women who've been connected to me over the year because I'm a mother. So, you know, before a lot of this on separate platforms, you'll see me on mommy's groups. I'm connected to a lot of different ET kind of, you know, UFO groups. So absolutely zero. If anyone's told me I'm part of the group, they're just upset because they didn't get shine and they weren't being leveraged. They weren't able to leverage off me. If you try to use me or try to do something with me or try to benefit from my groups, I won't allow you. And you know, I'm Sagittarius and I'm 3. I will just ghost you. And people are mentally not really prepared to be ghosted by somebody that they've been used to being around and parasiting off of. So that's it. So that's that question. FleurBrun, do you have a partner, a mate, a partner, mate, or okay? So they're asking if I have a partner or mate. And wait, the question, they also asked another question. If I have a partner or mate, and am I gay? Am I gay? As many of you know, I am a proponent of loving and enjoying the company of males. organic males, males that were born males. So absolutely, you know, I have a lot of sea stars that are actually, you know, that follow me, that sleep with other females that are, you know, that are gay. So I think that may be why they asked me that. I think women are beautiful, but I love being with males, and that is my part. That is my number one mating propensity. You know, I don't call myself heterosexual because I think I think that's stupid. I like being with males. I like healthy males, and that's my mating, you know, expression. Okay. I know, stop. Yeah, I don't know why they think that. I think because I talk about males and I definitely talk about things like that, but it isn't that I have an issue of being with males. I just, you know, I speak about things that are relative in my life. Okay. So that's it. And do I have a mate? That's really no one's concern. I do like someone specifically, so you can know that. I have a fondness of one specific person at this point, so that's all you need to know. Okay, so the next question is, why am I speaking about, I wrote these down. Why am I speaking about the Anunnaki if they're negative? Why am I speaking? They said something, okay, so this question I think is was posed to me because there are a lot of people who feel the Anunnaki are negative. They have negative, they have a negative information regarding the Anunnaki, so they feel like, why am I connected to beings that are nefarious? You know, everyone knows what they know. I've been part of this sector for a long time. I think a lot of times the Anunnaki have gotten a bad rap, the Niburians, based on the propaganda of governmental officials who utilize, and other, you know, other dark ops, Satanists and so on. They tend to throw that out there to make people really confused, and also to paint a negative picture of those who have a lot of connection to us genetically. So it makes sense that you will hear a lot of people talk negatively about it. Could also be that they aren't part of that particular sector. Planet X is a planetoid with many different beings, but they may not have a connection to them. So in their mind, it's negative. So I can't say that they're wrong or right, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, so I have a great connection to the Niburians. I come and I've been on that starship, and a lot of the beings on there, we have a unified connection to the different groups and species that run it. It's kind of like Star Trek or Star Wars, where you have multiple beings working on one accord on one ship. So you know, that's just what I do. Okay. FleurBrun, why you be hating on the men? Okay, so let's say this. I love sun stars, and there isn't any hate over here. I usually speak about things that are relative to what I discuss. I'm a woman, and I'm a woman of color. So, you know, sometimes you'll hear my opinion about males and females. So I don't think I really put a lot of, if you feel like I put a lot of emphasis on males, it's really just not hate. It's actually quite the opposite. It's because I love males, and I love when they're healthy. And I know that our sea stars are really struggling finding proper connections to a lot of our sun stars that are healthier. So I think I speak about it sometimes. It's no hate though, you know, so just FYI. Where are you, okay, this person says you say that you're Native, but why have you never spoken about it previously? I don't think I ever not spoke about my background genetically. I think I've always been pretty transparent with like who and what I am, where I come from. I talk about my family being from the Caribbean by way of South America. I've always talked about being Carib. I think just if you come to me newer, I'm not going to repeat things over and over again. So maybe you've just not heard it, and maybe the videos, maybe you're newer to me, but it's something that I've always I'm really proud of who I am and where I come from and my background. So if that's something that you've not heard before, it's because you've not been I've been on since like 2011 on YouTube. So it's just probably, maybe you came to me a little sooner. This person's hating on me. So this person's saying, why are you always talking about your mother and father? And why are you always talking about your mother and father? and making everybody feel bad about themselves. Wait, bad about themselves. Okay, so this person asked me, why am I always speaking about my parents in such a positive way? Let me state this. I love my parents. They are amazing. Just like some of you talk about Jesus Christ, some of you talk about your Buddha, some of you talk about, those are the beings that you feel like influence you positively. Some of you talk about like Osiris and, you know, and Nefertiti and, you know, and whoever gods that you, the Orishas that you love, you know, whether it's Oshun or, you know, Yemiya, whoever you talk about, like that's who you feel influence you positively. I think it's really important that you realize that I love my parents, and the reason why myself and my brothers have been really positive people for the most part is because I came from really beautiful people and really sweet people. And I think it's really sad that you have a problem when someone talks positively about their parents, because all of the constant visual kind of conversations online is people constantly talking negatively about their you hear my doggies talking negatively about their family and talking about they've been traumatized. But as soon as you see a woman of color talk positive about her dad, I'm a daddy's girl and I love it. And my father and mother really did a wonderful job with myself and my brothers coming from other countries, not speaking the language. I think that's really beautiful. So I think if you have a problem with me talking positively about my mother and my father, that really has to do with you. If you feel like you only want to hear women talk negatively about men in their life or how their father's not there, that you shouldn't project that on me. That isn't my experience. My experience with my father and the men in my life has been really positive. So it's interesting that that is something. Hold on, my dogs are like, I got like a wolf pack. Come on, come on. Come on, guys. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, Frosty. I've got like hounds. Come on. Come on. Come on. Okay, stop barking. I've got like hounds. Yeah, so I just wanted to say that. Like like I said, I'm sorry, y'all. They'll eventually stop. Okay, and like even this person here, she is Lilith in a clone body. This is like, that's the conversation. First of all, Lilith is a concept in your head. Clone body, listen, if I had a clone body, it'd be a lot skinnier and it wouldn't have the stretch marks from giving birth to a lot of children. So you need to stop that. You need to make sure you check yourself before you wreck yourself. You're gonna be, you know, X-Men. You're here to see me. I don't come to where you are. So apparently you like to see clones. Okay, clones don't have stretch marks. Clones don't have big breasts. Well, maybe they do. Maybe, you know, clones aren't able to get pregnant and have children. So if you perceive that I'm a Lilith concept, you need to leave. These are the people who are mentally ill online. They see a woman, they consider me to be Lilith because they're attracted to me. They think I have like a sexual kind of energy. So they just project their insecurities or their kind of taboos on women on me. It has nothing to do with me, okay? So there's nothing wrong with being a natural woman. That shouldn't be somebody, thank you, Yafi, that shouldn't be something that's ever, you know, vilified. You know, you have people online that with all kinds of fake hair, eyelashes and everything, but when you see a woman who's organic, the first thing you want to do when she feels confident, she likes herself, is you want to vilify her. You know, this is why a lot of women are scared to come online. You know, listen, I've been on the block a long time. So, you know what I mean? I've been on the block a long time. So I have a thicker skin than most. So, you know, because I've been on before YouTube was weaponized. But yeah, there isn't any way I'm a clone. Okay? Well, all of you complete clowns. Like, I just wanted to answer some of the questions about that. Also, people were asking where I live. Many of you know I used to live in Orlando. I moved last year, around this time last year. Many of you know, let me just state this, that it's really no one's business where I live. And a lot of times what happens is that I've had a chance to witness over the years how cruel a lot of these beings, these weaponized agent Smiths are online. There's a group of women that were discussing and trying to find out where I live so they can do harm to my children. I won't share that information anymore because I've seen how people, like very nefarious people, have been using people's addresses or where they live to dox them so that they can have people hurt them and their families. There were 3 women trying to like sit there and trying to find out where I live. 3 of them that were removed from my group, and it's really sad. You know what I mean? I've watched Alexis K have her information set out where people put her address out there, and she's a woman. Like, why would you do that? You know, there's a lot of sick people out here. You think that you're hurting me, but you're hurting other people. And there's going to be a spiritual consequence for you doing that. So it's really no one's business where I live. I've seen people use people's addresses to dox them and to send people to their house to hurt them. And doxing is really dangerous. And I've watched it over the years. Like I just seen, there was a young lady, Ashe Divine, really sweet young lady. They had her information, and I had a chance to witness it. They gave her information of where she lived. She had little ones at the time, and I actually witnessed some cars. Like, she showed me some cars of people driving past her house when her little girl was outside. You know how disgusting that is? There's a lot of demonic people online. And after I saw what they did to, Alexis K, when they gave her information, I mean, she's a woman. Like, why would you do that? Like, do you not understand that if someone gets murdered and you've given that information, you are going to be karmically indebted to that? So I won't give my information of where I live. It's nobody's business. The fact that you have women working consciously to try to find out where I live, it just says there's a reason why those people have been removed from my life. Okay, that's it. So usually where I'm at. Like, especially when I leave the country, I don't mind sharing that with you, because when I'm out of the country, gratefully you won't be able to come to me. But usually when I'm in the States, I've relocated. I'm out of Florida, as you see. So I'm not there anymore. Okay. Okay. And I think the question is, why do you always cape for Haitians? If someone asks why I cape for Haitians, let me say this. The Haitian nationality and the culture and the people are my superheroes. Let me say this again. Haitians are my superheroes. Coming from a French Caribbean background, if many of you know about the Haitians and the win and what they've done to really fight against the system of colonization and how they were able to free South American countries like Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, and also the United States, they are my superheroes. So I love the Haitian culture. You will always see me revere them because in my eyes, they are what I attribute as heroes. Okay, so, for people who ask that question, it's like, why would that bother you? Like, if you don't know about who they are, where they come from, how amazing they were able to overcome, and they were the only Caribbean island that overcame these demons. And they won, and they're being really vilified, and they're being, really attacked because of how amazing a win. And for those who don't know, also Haiti, their flag colors, Venezuela, I think Colombia, no, Venezuela, is it Colombia too? Venezuela, Ecuador, I think it's Colombia too. Their flags take on their colors of the Haitian flag because of how they helped them to overcome the Spanish when they came there. So if you ever ask me that question again, I'm not Haitian, but I have, as a French, coming from a French background, especially from the Caribbean, because we're considered to be Latinos. As a Latino, because Latino means we speak a Latin language. As a Latino from the Caribbean, someone kept correcting me and saying, you are Latino. We are Latinos. We aren't Hispanic who speak French, but we're Latinos. We support others who revered and upheld to the standard of victory when it came against these devils. Okay, so they are my superheroes. If you ever hear me talk about Haitians, I love that culture. I love what they've done. I really hold them at a high esteem, so that's why you hear me talk about them all the time. Okay, all right, so let's get to the conversation. So you guys ready to hear about the wheat? There's a couple other questions people ask me, but those are like the ones that, they keep asking me those same questions over and over again. So I just want to kind of do a Q&A. So let's get into the conversation. I'll wait until we get to 500. We're going to talk about weaponized wheat. So let me take a sip for the haters. I'm not drinking Starbucks anymore, haters. And let me just say this. If you don't like me, which obviously you do, because if you are subscribed to me and you keep coming here and listening to me, apparently you sweat at me. So stop hating and appreciate and just participate. Because I'm not coming to you, you're coming to me. So stop it already. I wouldn't be subscribed or keep coming to someone's channel if I dislike them. That means I like them. And if you don't want to be my enemy, then just stay and chill out. I'm not coming for any of you. I have a life. Okay, so let's get into the weaponized weight. All right, so wait until we get to 500, you know, because I was doing a Q&A, so it didn't get up to 500, please. I'll wait until we get into 500. I know Divine Hazel, but you know what, you know, sometimes I like to respond because I'm a little messy. And I could be a little, what do you call it, petty. I'm a little petty sometimes. You know what I realize, like, as I get a little more seasoned, being petty is more fun. Because I'm always like in a righteous, you know, as a parent, you're always in that righteous mode. Sometimes I want to be a little petty and play with y'all. So, you know, taking a sip for the haters, because they come over here and they get mad. Like, they see me and they like me. They think I look a certain way. They hate on me, but they really like me. Because I wouldn't be at this channel if I dislike me. People who come here is because they do like me. Okay. Okay, so let's get it. Greetings from Paraguay. What's good? Hey, Marino. Making all kinds of deals here. We're trying. You know what? Search Moreno. You're absolutely correct. China's been making deals. The Xinhua have been making deals all over South America. It's really quite sad. They're trying to take over all the food because they're going to be using that. And we're going to talk about the wheat and what's happening with the food because of what's going on with them taking over all of the food sources. Many of you know I've talked about a while ago how, and this was Kiki. I want to give a big up to Kiki Mansi. If you don't know Kiki, I love Kiki Mansi. She's so saucy. She's over in Southeast Asia now. I think she's still in Bali. So big up to Kiki. She was the one who actually let me know this. Some of you were part of me a while ago, you remember Aquarius Rising. I had Kiki come on, and she revealed to us that Xinhua had bought up a lot of the food companies, like it's not Purdue, it's another chicken. I'm sorry, y'all. I always forget to mention which chicken company it is. I forgot. It's not Purdue. It might be Purdue now. Anyway, it's a chicken company, and then there was the pork company, Tyson. Thank you, y'all. Thank you, Tyson. And then the other one was the pork company. It's so sad when I don't remember. We did a show on this, but anyway, Kiki was the first person who literally alerted us to that, and you could fact check it. You can fact check a couple of the resources. Smithfield, y'all remember, I love you because you are young and your minds are fresh and clear. Big up to all the C stars in here who come in with the information. Thank you, y'all. Smithfield. So remember at the time we were talking about, and this is years ago. So Kiki came on. God, Kiki, where's Kiki Mansi? I wish she was here right now. This was like what, 5-6 years ago? She told us that, hey, Elle Summers, I miss you. Now, do you have an album? I want you to do some music for the thing. I want to, Elle Summers is like our hip hop, you know, he does great music and really enlightening. I haven't talked to you for a while. Anyway, Kiki was talking about how the Xinhua had taken over a lot of the companies. Now, from then, I want you to really go into how many companies that the Xinhua have purchased. And why is that an issue is because you got to realize whenever you have a country that is literally a country that has weaponized food, makes a lot of fake food, meaning this is the same country where it makes fake rice with plastic, fake lettuce. They've been basically they eat everything over there, rats, dogs, cats, in certain parts of places where they're really starving. There are places that even actually eat newborns, like babies that are sold. And I'm not making this up. You can actually look into this. Whenever you have a entire society who's been under communism to the extreme where there's a lack of spirituality, then you have a lack of morals and ethics attached to how they engage with animals, people, and places and things. And if you come, like, listen, that whole mass thing, mass destruction, you do realize the people who are wearing masks before this whole cucarachis infiltration, you could go over to Asia, over in China, and that's where all the people wearing masks, because their air was so toxic and so unhealthy that people walked around with that. And then there was a multitude of all kinds of viruses, inhalation issues, because of how many things they were exposed to, from being unethical eating wise, non-sanitary ways of engaging, and also just not having a moral compass when it comes to spiritual engagement with people, places, and things. And I want to say this, I don't personally, and like I tell you, when I talk about a governmental system, I'm not talking specifically about the people. I'm talking about, a lot of times what happens when you get people that are highly suppressed, under heightened amount of mind control programming, they tend to start to mimic the pattern of whatever the government wants them, like robotoids. Okay, that is one of the places that's like that. And you do know that the Chinois are all over. I told you, we talked about this last time. They literally have taken over a lot of the United Fakes. They bought up a lot of the United Fakes. I personally think they own California and New York, and there's probably other states that we don't even know about. I also talked about my girlfriend years ago working for Dolce Bank, and this was like 2000, and because I was married at the time, so 2000 or 1999, because she was working for Dolce Bank. Big up to Jenny. Said Burvera. That's one of my best girlfriends. Jenny was working for Dolce Bank at the time, and she was the one we had a home up in the Poconos. Big up to Orla family in Pennsylvania. So we had a home in the Poconos, and I remember her telling me at the time when we first purchased our home, she said, you do know that the Chinese are buying up all that area? I was like, why? She was like, the company had told her, and she had seen that they were bringing in Chinois in droves, and they were coming in unmarked planes, like cargo planes, and they were basically dropping them off into a lot of places, and they were purchasing a lot of property in Pennsylvania, in the Poconos at the time. So remember, you guys in the Poconos, I know, Teresa, you're in the Poconos. So Teresa knows. So, they have the casino. Many of you know who are from New York. Big up to all the New Yorkers and the Jerseyites. Many of you know that we talk about, you guys are more aware of what happens in like Pennsylvania, the Poconos, Connecticut, because usually New Yorkers, for the Northeast people, that's not something you may know, but people from Connecticut, Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York have a very close connection to everything. You know what I mean? So they kind of know they're connected to all that. China owns roughly 384 acres of U.S. agricultural land. 2021 report. Thank you, Crystal. Crystal Goddess brought the facts. Okay. So in the Poconos, they were buying up a lot of land. So she made me aware at the time that there was this unknown connection to a lot, like an underhanded connection to our U.S. government allowing these entities in the country unmarked. You're talking about all the illegal immigrants now. You didn't talk about them before. That was in 1999. And when they were purchasing all of the properties. Also, do know in the Caribbean, big up to my Jamaican family. Now, for many of you know, I have a close connection to Jamaica. So Jamaica had all their ports purchased by the Chinese. And, there's been a large amount of Chinese that Chinois moving into Jamaica. Look, there's a Chinese, a lot of mixed people who are mixed with a lot of Chinese. I have family who are married to like Chinese Jamaicans, so that's why I know a lot about it. There's like a town where they're actually beautiful people. Like there's a fusion of like Jamaicans that are mixed with Chinese, probably the most unique genetic disposition. They're beautiful people. And let me say this, Chinese Jamaicans are just as much Jamaicans as anyone else. So let me say this, these are people who generationally lived there and mixed with the locals. So they're just Jamaicans. So, when you hear them speak patois, sometimes it bugs you out because you're seeing like a Chinaman speak patois, but they've been living there for a long time. So I'm not talking about them, but I'm talking about the CCP who made sure that they used those first initial forms of colonization to kind of, allow that to give them a foot in so that they could purchase a lot more properties, and they ended up buying a lot of the ports in Jamaica. And it's not just Jamaica. There's other Caribbean islands that they've done the same. Any of the Caribbean islands who you guys, I don't know all of them, so if you have the information, can you kind of put it in here if you have any information based in it. Queen Ottawa says Arkansas governor denied Chinese purchase of farmland here, and good for your governor for even caring enough about his people and his land. Okay, so I'm just saying they have really purchased, and they've kind of cornered the entire world without people really denoting it and having a reaction to it. So now when I'm talking about the weaponized wheat, you have to understand, if you have a foreigners purchasing large amounts of farmland that's being used for the food distribution, like your breads, your crackers, your pretzels, all of the wheat, like, you know, when you do like the your flours, your baking flours, those are all being infiltrated because you have a hostile group that have weaponized the food, and they are distributing it, and your government has now been taken over by foreign interests that they aren't even doing anything for it. And also the water, and we're talked about the radiation water that has now been riddled throughout all of the country unchecked. Now, how do I know this? Is because we kind of vetted this out a while ago, where, hold on now. We vetted this out a while ago where I think my mom, I gotta think, y'all, because I'm not as young anymore. My mom was getting like symptoms of celiacs, like maybe in the 90s, right? It could have been the late 80s, but really in the 90s, where her system, now mind you, my mom's been in the States a long time, and she was having really bad reactions to like crackers, things. And any of you have moms and grandmas, that like they've been eating the same thing. Generally, the elders eat generally the same thing. They're very repetitious and very mono thinking when it comes to food, because they eat what they've always eaten. My mom started to have reactions to like I think it was in the late 80s, maybe the 90s, right? And she had really bad reactions to it. But, again, she felt like she was getting older. She felt like, his system was really just being reactive. But as I became much more self-aware, me personally, and I've been about this life for a long time. Many of you know, I had my own farm in Pennsylvania. I've always grown my own food. I've been really big into the agricultural naturopathic for a long time. From a little girl, really, in my early teens, like I was really big into holistic living. And when I got into my early 20s is when I realized there was a relationship between the wheat that was being homogenized and hybrid, and the pesticides they were using on it, that was causing this reaction from the elders, who started to have a lot of health issues regarding the food that they always ate. So we fast forward now, and I realized, oh my God, it's not only that they were homogenizing and hybriding the wheat sources, it was that it wasn't only the pesticides that they were using that were being weaponized, that were causing people a lot of health issues, a lot of the weird cancers that you see that people have. I personally think, this is my opinion, that it's connected to all of the food being weaponized with these specific bioweapons. And needless to say, as we know now, that you're selling a lot of these agricultural land masses to foreign people who want less Americans, so that it will be easier for them to do a takeover. So let's fast forward a little bit. Now that we know that, because my mom had that reaction like in the 80s, late 80s, maybe early 90s, I realized the homogenizing of wheat was causing a lot of problems. And then later on with the pesticides, we knew about the pesticides, the Roundup, all that good stuff. Now, come to find out, I want to be careful, because as you know, Willy Wonka and his League of Doom like to watch this channel like White on Rice, and YouTube. Let me give a big up to YouTube for being my biggest hater and sponsor at the same time. Okay. Do you know that the fact is that the water sources weren't ever questioned? See, while they're doing one thing in one side, they're not really telling you what's going on at the other side. So you're looking this way saying, oh my God, it's the homogenized, it's Monsanto taking over all the seed crops and cropping, seeding their wheat with their own genetically homogenized seeds. Oh, it's this, the pesticides. But meanwhile, nobody talked about the water sources that they were using. Now, some of you remember, because I remember I had my farm, big up to the farmers. I was in Pennsylvania. I remember I was doing, I collected my own water. I did, rain barrels. So what I would do for part of where I had my crops, I would use self-feeding rain barrels to save water. And at the time, I think this was like 2007 or 8, we first were hearing that the governments were starting to demonize and weaponize. Oh, no. Starting to find people who had started to use rain barrels, like people who were rain saving, like using rainwater and filtering it out to use it for their, for their crops. And at the time, I think it was Dr. Was it Dr. Africa? May have been Dr. Ali Africa. I'm not sure if it was, I don't know if it was Dr. Ali Africa or another person from like CCNY. Many of you know I went to university in New York. So there was one other person who spoke about the fact that the reason why they started to make sure that that they were starting to find people who were saving their own water was because they wanted you to use their water sources so that it would leach into your food and any fresh, especially if you're growing your own food and go into your gardens. So I think it was Layla Africa. I think it was at the time. They were really starting to get on people because they couldn't weaponize the water if you were using your own water sources and filtering it out, like collecting your own water from, and also we had a well at the time. So well water and also rainwater were things that they couldn't really control. They wanted everyone to use the same water sources that they can use a form of, poisoning, this is my opinion, poisoning, so that you would all be getting the same source of water going to your gardens, okay? Now, why does this matter? As we go forward in time, there was a study done in Canada that literally kind of caught wind to a couple of the farmers, I think in the Midwest. I think it was Arkansas. I think Arkansas was one. I think it was Wichita or Kansas, the other two. There were a couple Midwest farmers who got wind that water that was coming from pipe systems that were coming from the city water that could have been contaminated, not so much with just like forms of like, biological pathogens that were, something pathogen wise, like, bacteria, whatever the case is, that they were being tainted by radiation. So there was a group in Canada, I think it was in Ontario County, if I'm not mistaken. I have the information. You could probably look it up. In Ontario County, they actually tested the water and they found out that there was radiation being leached into the water system. Okay, they were testing it with like a radiation tester, and then, which probably has to do with the soil being tainted with radiation, which leaches into the water, to be honest, right? So then another group, I think it was Arkansas, Wichita, or Kansas, or both, they did a testing and they found that there was radiation in the water system that was being leached in. And then I said, holy crap. So now this made sense. Like, now you realize like the heightened amount of cancers, and also, radiation really is a catalyst. It is a food source for a certain kind of fungi and spores. You know that, right? Like if you look at Fukushima, if you look at, if you go over to Chernobyl, remember we talked about the fact that the radiation was literally making fungi go, like spores go over on overload. It like they eat the radiation and it kind of helps them to replicate faster. Well, the fact of the matter is that people were starting to see trees with this weird kind of fungus around like the places, that they were supposedly cleaning the water, like the water systems, you know, the places where they do the water treatment centers, they were finding out that trees around those water treatment places were showing like this weird kind of green algae fungi on them, like around the trees. So it was Canada, excuse me, Canada, that literally, that my mother used to say, when you cough, it's truth. Hold on. Canada, that first was the reason why the others looked into it. And then you looked at the treatment centers. A couple of our farmers noticed at the treatment centers that the trees were really unwell. It had a weird kind of fungus, or like a green, like a weird kind of algae on top of them that wasn't notably something that should be around on trees, especially specific trees like pine trees, sometimes and also a lot of these this type of fungi was killing off black walnut trees. Now I noticed that in Pennsylvania. Let me ask, because I want to verify this. Virginia and Pennsylvania, there are black walnut trees that some of us had. We had a black walnut tree on our property on the side. It didn't have a problem, but I heard, and I can't verify this, so I'm asking you guys who are in Virginia, like maybe Maryland, also in Pennsylvania, are you noticing that your black walnut trees are dying, or they're getting sick? Because it seems like that was connected to a lot of the reasons why certain trees weren't surviving, like they were dying off by this weird kind of fungus that was being, now we know that if there's radiation being leached into the soil, or water sources have a heightened amount of radiation, this could be why these trees are being affected and also being killed off by this weaponized kind of radiation leached water that's affecting the health of the trees. Now, I just want to know if anybody knows that. I don't know for sure. It's you know, when you make like it's kind of like a thought that I had. So can you please look, can you look into that for those who are in Pennsylvania? I know they're in maybe Connecticut, maybe upstate New York, Virginia, those who have walnut trees. Can you just, because I can't verify that. I can't verify, I just think so. Okay, so now let's go into 2023, because personally, like I said, y'all, it's still 2023 in my eyes. We aren't in 2024 until like March, the end of March. So personally, you know, I accept that. I don't, you know, the Satanist calendar, the Gregorian calendar isn't what I go by. The year, we're still in the year 2023. Okay, so now with all of the heightened amount of radiation, I noticed, and I used myself as a barometer too, that last week I wasn't feeling that hot. And you know, I eat and really clean, and I grow. I have an aquaponic system in the house where I grow a lot of our herbs, and bok choy is going off. I like to grow bok choy. Bok choy is like my newest thing. And I noticed that I don't eat a lot of wheat. I do a lot of spelt and heirlooms, but you know, like if someone buys something that's like a bread, even if it's organic, or like something I touch that has wheat sources in it, like pretzels or anything, I was getting really sick, like literally bloating up, like getting really bulky and bulking, like my face was getting chunky. Like if I had like pretzels, like some, and it's not spelt, they don't make spelt pretzels anymore because they used to. Newman used to make spelt pretzels that were soy free. Remember that, y'all? They took out a lot of food sources that were healthy for us out of Whole Foods. When Monsanto got in bed with Whole Foods, that's when a lot of our vetted spelt and heirloom grains started getting taken out of our you know, our options to purchase. One of the things I used to buy for my little ones was definitely the spelt pretzels by Newman's. It was soy free. Didn't have any soy lecithin as an emulsifier or whatever, and I used to buy that, but I stopped getting that. So occasionally I'll have like the old-fashioned pretzels. So I started getting really a lot of inflammation, and it was just crazy. And then many of you know, like I'm an on and off caffeine drinker, and I've talked about the fact that anything in the silos, I'm very cautious about things being stored in silos. Silos are the things that they store the corn, the oats, the rices in. Silos are like the biggest perpetuator of spores and fungi. That's why it's very important for you to rinse off your rice, to disinfect it, and also with your beans. Beans are in silos. Those are things that build like spores in them, and they're weaponized spores. Like those are the things that can cause long-term issues with your stomach, okay? So coffee also. If you're buying coffee from places, remember they're not doing the same things that we would do at home. So I decided like last week, I was like, you know what? Let me just take the caffeine out. Let me take out any wheat, any kind of wheat, anything, because it's easy for me to do because I don't eat a lot of it. I took it out. Within 3 days, I talk about this all the time. I just started peeing, and then all of a sudden I like dropped 5 pounds. So I was like, holy smack. It's literally because remember, I leave the country a lot. I'm always in and out of United Fakes, and I go inside the countries, and as soon as I'm there, I kind of thin out. I always had like a flatter stomach. And what's crazy about it is like as soon as I took out the wheat, all wheat forms anything that has wheat, weaponized wheat, radiation wheat, I took it out, and then I took out the caffeine. As soon as I did it, my whole body kind of svelted down and slendered down, okay? So you have to think to yourself, I was like, oh my God. Because what causes that kind of inflammation also, and also causes forms of bloating and bulking, is radiation. So then I realized it may not even just be the wheat itself. It may be the water that is being used to grow these food sources, like rice and grains and all kinds of grains. They're using it. And even when you buy coffee, like now when I make my own coffee or I go to a place, I make sure that it's whole bean, and that it is mold-free. It is mold-free and pesticide-free. It is very important for you to do that because a lot of times when we go and get a coffee from other places, and also I think Dutch Brothers does that as well, there's a lot of coffee places that don't recognize that mold is on a lot of these types of coffees. And also bugs. Yeah, bugs are in coffees too. That's right. Masank G. Absolutely. They have roaches in it. And then also they want you to eat bugs. So they're putting a lot of bugs. And a lot of you who have allergies to like shrimp or shellfish, you do know if you have allergies to shellfish, you're drinking coffee where they're milling the coffee and they're grinding it down and it has roaches in it. So you're getting allergies to it because you're having bugs the same bugs in the water, like the shrimp, are the bugs that you eat, and you're getting the same reaction. So this is the thing that, they're trying to put crickets and stuff. A lot of people have allergies to insects. You know what I mean? It's not like grubs in Africa where they eat it as a protein source. It isn't necessary. Like a lot of people have allergies to these things. So that's when I realized that I wanted to go back to studies talking about the weaponized wheat and the radiation. And then lo and behold, you found these farmers who had been testing the wheat and found out that they had lots of radiation. And it wasn't so much from it going on the wheat itself, it was coming from the water sources. So the wheat in itself had radiation. And that's why all of these people are getting these weird kind of like, because remember, it's my opinion. It's not, and let me state this because you know what YouTube gets on me. I'm not a doctor. I am a comic. This is a skit. I'm mentally ill. This isn't true. This is a joke. This is not doctor's information. I'm a clown, okay? I got to put that in there because if I don't, and I will say this is that as we go forward, we realize that these foreign entities who have absolutely no investment in the livelihood or the healthiness of a population that they're trying to take over have been weaponizing their newly found purchased agricultural land where they're growing a lot of your stockpiles of wheat, beans, rice, all these things. And this is being distributed to all of us. And you wonder why your body is rejecting everything, or why you may eat something and your children are having weird reactions, skin reactions, and so on, because it's weaponized through radiation. How is it possible? And that's how you know, y'all, that and I told you already, the country's been taken over by nefarious outside entities, okay? They're using this country as a launch pad for terrorism abroad, for doing things to their own people, for the society. And let me say this, I know a lot of people really are trying to go over to Texas, and they're really going to support, the people going over to Eagle Pass over in Texas. Let me just state this, y'all, it's a setup. Just like the September 6th or whatever, the January 6th with the Patriots going over to the White House, it is a setup. When they showed, it was a gentleman who showed the actual borders over there. They have military at one point at Eagle Pass, and then when you go down the road, there's all these openings all up in the so-called borders. They literally have borders that are come on, Pepe. They have borders that are open, like gates, wide open. And then down the road, you see Eagle Pass with all this military presence. It's a front. And I personally think that they want to get everybody down there, because did you see what Xinhua's doing over in Taiwan area? So while they're making you look left, they are setting up shop on the right. So everybody, so you're telling me you have all of these openings, all of these different areas in Texas, and you're just going to go and have everybody go to one point where there's multitude of areas that are open wide? Listen, the country's already been infiltrated, okay? And number one, if you remember a couple, I think it was last year, big up to the zombies. I think last year we saw that on the White House, they had upside down flag, which let's see who knows what that means. When the flag is inverted, do you know what that means? Let's see if you guys know what that means. Let's see if anybody knows what that means. When you see them put up a flag at the White House, what does it mean when the flag is upside down? They put it up. We saw it. Like, listen, zombies, we were up on it like white on rice. Distress, what else? Taken over. Yep, crisis, distress. Yes, absolutely. Mutiny, coup, we're at war. Absolutely. Do you know that they had that flag up and none of these clown? See, this is how you know, y'all. And you say that I'm a hater. It's not that. If all these people online are intellists, they're so-called truthers, they're whistleblowers, how come they didn't speak on that? How come you didn't see a lot of these whistleblowers? You see them making all kind. Oh, there's what's his name? Canadian prepper is talking about everything going on. How come he didn't mention that? Maybe he did. I don't think he did though. Okay. The fact of the matter is, you had that, and also we have foreign men in the White House now wearing their uniform from another country. You have Ukrainians right now who are inside of the White House, which your pooping president, your holographic pooping president Kazoo, hasn't even been in the White House because he isn't allowed, because he isn't president. He's pooping all over the place. How come you have foreign nationals inside of the White House wearing their foreign uniforms? That means it's been taken over. You know that, right? Like, I saw the boots. I was like, that's not the United States uniform. And they actually had their actual uniform wearing from Ukraine. Okay? So for the fact of the matter is, I'm just giving a suggestion for those who are going over to Eagle Rock. I think they're going to spray you with all kinds of bioweapons. I think they want you all set up. If they wanted to hit, I told you they were going to smoke out the Patriots. They're smoking out the Patriots. I told you this 2 years ago. I said they waiting to get the lunar men in one spot. And they going to spray y'all with a bioweapon. That's easy. What's this whole thing with X? And how come none of these bastards who are calling themselves whistleblowers, how come nobody's bringing up the fact that last year, big up to Nikki from Cali, who's in our group in Zoom. Last year, the zombies and myself noticed that do you remember, let's do a little quiz here. Do you guys remember what happened on Chinese New Year's last year in California? Let's see if somebody remembers what happened. It was something happened on exactly Chinese New Year's last year. Can anyone remember? The zombies who know, don't say anything. Let the others talk. Because we were just discussing it. Keep going. I'm waiting. Anybody? You already said. On already knows. Okay. So, yes, Melanin Magic and On. Okay, y'all got it. The Half Moon Incident. Do you remember that there was just shooting inside of a facility with Chinese people? They were shot up by a rogue Asian man who shot up the people inside of, it was a Chinese New Year's, which is like February 10th, okay? Shot it up. Do you remember that during a good 2 months after that, there were like 40 to 55-year-old Asian men that were shooting up other Asians, like farmers and stuff like that. It was a whole shooting thing, and it was all Asian men, middle class, from middle age, from 40 to 55. They called them the lone wolves. They were going up, shooting up at the Asian people. We could not, for the life of us, zombies, we were on it. How come none of your whistleblowers are talking about that? That's why I think a lot of your whistleblowers online are controlled opposition. They're really governmental agents acting as if they're working on a court. I really think that. They shot up places. Now, why is that important? You do realize that why is it that Twitter renamed their channel X? Why is it that the disease is called Disease X? Why is all this X coming into the lexicon of all of your major social systems, your channels online, the X? You know why? Because what date is the Chinese New Year's, y'all? Where the wood dragon is coming into the Chinese astrology. What date is that? Does anyone, don't say it. What date is the Chinese New Year's, y'all? Oh, Saba got it. The 10th. What is 10 in Roman numerals? What is the 10 in Roman numerals? Roman numerals, what's the 10? X. It's like a classroom, right? X, okay? So you don't think it's odd that last year there was a big remember, you think that the Asian demographics doesn't do rituals as well. They have their own ritual system. They have their own magical system. You don't think that last year could have been a test run, like a beta test, to see if there could be something? I'm not saying that the people who were assassinated weren't done so for purposefully, but you don't think that was a beta test for sleeper cells that would be activated? Now, let's take in consideration, what does 11 usually mean? 11 usually means a gateway, right? Remember, 11 is like a gateway, a vortex, an opening. How is it that you're having the Chinese New Year's on X, on the 10th, Saturn Day? And you know a lot of murders and things happen on Saturn Day. That Saturn Day is a day you don't want to do many things because murders happen on Saturday. If there's going to be a murder, most of it will happen on Saturday. Saturn Day on the 10th is February 10th is the Chinese New Year's. But guess what's the day after, y'all? Guess what's the day after? Super Balls. Super Balls, y'all. So now you have a ritualized day that is connected to all these X's. Remember, all these Elon Musk and all of them, they talk to one another. This is how they use the language. They change the things because they're giving clues to their compadre, their Satanist compadres, okay? So they're giving all these codes to each other. Now you have a ritualized day, which is February 10th, which kicks off the dragon, the earth dragon. We talked about this on Zoom, making sure that your feng shui was on point, okay? For the zombies, I will have I'll give the feng shui again of what needs to be done to remedy, okay? So on the ritualized 10, which is the X, it's going to be on Saturn Day. And then you have on the 11th, the Super Balls, which is a predictive programming game. Remember they're talking about everybody knew who was going to play in the game. You thinking about that? And then also, it's Super Balls. There's something with a 13. Haru said it. Something else that has to do with the 13th, the day after. 49ers, which is a 13, which amplifies the 11th, y'all. Oh, 49ers versus the Chiefs, y'all, which is an amplifier because it's 49, which is a 13. So I'm just saying, y'all, if I had to think of a false flag and I had to really think about it, I would really say that the kickoff of the Chinese New Year's with the dragon, the Earth Dragon, might literally be the amplifier or the false flag kickoff that may happen on the Super Bowls. We got a lot of things going on at once. And you got Usher. Listen to his name, Usher of all people. So he's ushering the 1311 coming in the neck of the woods. I'm just saying, I could be wrong. I could be mentally ill. I'm not saying I know any better, but I'm just saying that's a lot of numbers that seem to be connected to the Satanist clues and little bits of puzzle pieces that they put out there. Now, if you didn't know what happened last year with the Asian rogue lone wolf, they call them lone wolves, these lone wolf Asian men that were shooting up places. And then you hear about the fact that I told you why you should have the purple lights, is that all of a sudden you have all of these Chinese Xinhua coming into the country, being set up all over the place. And this guy did an interview, big up to him. I think it was on Alex Jones. He talked to another Chinese guy that's set up in Panama City. And he asked the Chinese guy, he's like, is there a lot of spies and like terrorists coming in from China? He said, absolutely. This is their own people saying that. So really in itself, y'all, I would really pay attention to the X, which is a 10th. I don't know if it's I'm looking at the cylindrical pattern. We're in a simulation, you know, we're in a simulation where things are generally looping, like, you know, things come in a cylindrical pattern. I just denote last year, I'm looking at these fake channels with fake whistleblowers who never bring up last year. They'll probably bring it up after my channel because, you know, they watch me. Big up to all the Agent Smiths who like to watch my channel. I'm such an antagonizer. So I'm just saying that X marks the spot, 10-10 wins, all that. I just, you know, share, yes, you're right. Leap year, it's another leap year too. So Super Bowls, is it energy? This is Liongate open season. Oh, like July 27. I'm chasing the X's. X marks the spot. I'm just saying we could just find out another week. When is it coming up, y'all? When's the 10th? The 10th is like in 1 week, right? We have like 1 week or 2 weeks. Huh? Yeah, we have like another week to go. Okay? I'm just saying. And we got the Texas Eagle Run. So let's go into the weaponized weed. Be careful eating any of the food right now. You got the Xinhua all up in the water sources, okay? And did you realize what happened in, was it China? Oh, wait, I forgot about that. I forgot to talk about it. Wait a second. Darn, how could I forget to tell you that? You do know that there was this thing called rain asthma. It was in China. They were calling it asthma that was caused. And people were getting rain on them and they were getting asthma reactions, like water in their lungs, like weird inhalation issues. And they were calling it rain asthma. It was happening in China. And then there was another reporter, there was a person who did the research and they found out it wasn't that the rain was causing it, it was the radiation in the rain that was causing people to have this reaction. So the fact of the matter is, radiation wheat, which is basically like having weaponized water, could be all in the water sources. And a lot of times when people are getting like coughs, the forever coughs, that's all forms of like fungi, like mold buildup. You don't realize you have a lot of mold in your system, okay? A lot of the mold. And mold is amplified by radiation. A lot of spores go buck wild when there's a lot of radiation. So it's important for everyone to realize, be careful walking, and you've got to filter out your water. If you're still getting your water sources for Willy Wonka, all they got to do is, that's what I'm saying in the hood, y'all need to get out of the cities. Because listen, if you have the same, I remember years ago, and this is when real YouTube was really buck wild, like it was bruck up in here. When you had real whistleblowers that were just not on here trying to sell their merch. The guy was like, yo, all they had to do is, if they didn't like you and your people, all they did was they closed off one pipe and they put certain kind of water into certain neighborhoods. So as long as they can control the water sources and where water goes, they can bet very much, as long as, that's why they don't want you having rain barrels. That's why it's illegal for you to start a well without getting permission from your governmental systems. You cannot go and tap your well. You know how easy it is to tap a well? Big up to all my preppers up in here. It is real easy. I've got the 8-foot well. There's a wonderful lunar woman. She is so cute. She's out and she has like a triangle house. Some of you may know her. I forgot her name. She's really cute. I like to watch her sometimes. She's like my guilty pleasure. She goes out in like the woods and she taps her own well. She's so cute. She's like a little blondie, cute little sassy little thing. She goes out and she taps her well, and she made it, and then she got a pump on it too. She did it all by herself. I'm sure but she did it, and she put a filter on it. Do you know how easy it is to do that? But guess what? Willy Wonka in his League of Doom said it's illegal for you to go and tap your own well. And you do know you can go into springs. It was Akashic. I think it was you, Akashic. I don't know if Akashic is here. Akashic was the one who told us there's a site. Does anyone know the site? It's like you can find out all the spring water that are tapped, and you can go and get free water from them. Oh yes, does she? No, she doesn't have dreadlocks. She's like a little blonde, a little cutie pie. She's so adorable. Like, I don't know if she's like in her 50s and 60s. She's not young. Find a Spring. Thank you, Empress. You can actually go to Find a Spring, and you can go and find it and go fill up your water bottles. FYI, okay? And those aren't controlled by Willy Wonka, and you could test them and everything. But what I would do is I would really encourage everybody to test your water for radiation now. Just like we tested the walls, that you test the walls, now you have another form of testing that I would just really challenge you to do. Get your radiation testers and test your water for radiation before, even if you tap it and get it from a free spring. Find a spring. Thank you, Empress, and thank you, Survive L3. This is a thing, because Akashic had told us about it. I think it was Akashic. I think it was. Find a spring and make sure that you go and get your own fresh water. It's springs all over the place. I really think, wait, you watch her, She's of the Woods. Great info. I love her. She's like one of, it's her. Wait, it's her and another, remember, I like Itchy Boots. Y'all, I'm a Sag. I like to watch one of the Sages. Like, they're very Saggy energy. I like when they go and do all this. I like to see women go and do stuff like that. It's like I enjoy it. I'm really encouraged, and I love doing that. I like watching them. Anyway, if you see her channel, if somebody can, I don't know her personally. I just love her channel. She goes out there and she goes and taps. When I saw how easy it was for her to tap a well, y'all, I was like, what the freak? No wonder they won't let us do it. It's illegal. They don't want you having your own personal water source, because that means you aren't going to be as easily influenced when they're pumping chemicals and poisons all up in your water and cucarachas. Because a lot of times you got to think, when you see a whole bunch of, why are they able to test all the, they're always able to test all the sewer water, so they could tell if they're getting the right dose of poison up into people, because they test the sewer water, and they can really define it to certain areas. They can specify to certain areas. But I'm not telling you to do anything illegal, y'all. But listen, the United States is illegal right now. It is broke up right now. Texas, let me give a shout out to my Texans. Y'all about to secede, or I already know you did, but just for the facade of you seceded now. Big up to all my Texans. That's why all the corporations were moving to Texas. Do you remember that, y'all? But where are your Intellis? Remember, like 2 years ago, all these corporations were moving up into Texas? Do you remember that? Right? Remember when they were all moving to Texas? We're like, why are all the corporations? You know why? Because they got the FYI, y'all. They knew that they were going to secede. So they got the bulletin. And I'm not telling you to move to Texas, but I'm just telling you, from my understanding, Texas already seceded. And they got their own cursing going on. And also, I heard word on the curb. That's from Alicia. I didn't get that phrase. That's from Alicia. Word on the curb is that Russia, the BRICS, and Mexico are all working together with Texas. So Texas already got his homeboys and homegirls working on their accord. And I heard word on the curb is that Florida is down as well. But I don't know. I could be wrong. You know what I mean? I'm just a maniac. Let me just say this again. I'm a maniac. This is a skit. This is a comedy. I'm not truthful. I'm a liar. I'm crazy. I'm mentally ill. I'm dummy. I'm stupid. I just got to put that in there. I got to put these little things in here. Okay? Because, when they come for me, I got to say, well, I told you it was a comedy skit. I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you that. Anyway, so what I would say to everybody, I would be really mindful the radiation water. And literally when I heard China had a town where they were actually naming it, they called it asthma rain. And then the person tested it and found out it wasn't that the rain was causing asthma. It was the radiation in the water molecules causing the people's bodies to react as if they were exposed to radiation. So I just, I'm not a doctor, but I'm just saying, if you go out in the rain, I would cover up. Remember our old school rain Our umbrellas. Oh, I loved it. I was a little girl. Remember our umbrellas were like, they look like little, like clear colored, like they look like you were in a little, like a little tunnel. Like, I forgot what they're called. Like, you know, remember our umbrellas, like I loved it as a little girl. I forgot what it's called. You know, our umbrellas were like little flutes. Like they looked like they were bowed in. I have one in the car. You better put on them radiation rain suits. And don't you think it's odd that all these places were raining at one point? Now listen, I also want to bring up the fact that during that whole time where California was getting tons of rain, there was a homeboy who was growing, he was growing, was it apricots? No, it wasn't apricots. It was some sort of, it wasn't dates. It wasn't apricots. Was it apricots? I don't know what he was growing. I can't remember. Bubble umbrellas, VK. You remember that? I remember as a little girl. Remember that? I loved it. I got one in the car. Okay, so he was growing apricots, and he noticed that during the time where, or figs, I think it was figs. I don't remember, y'all. Anyway, he was in California at the time, and he said he went outside after it rained, and it burned. It had burn marks on his fruit. He said after it rained, like acid rain. You got to think what acid rain really is. Is it chemicalized rain, or could it be a form of radiation? Because radiation has kind of like, it had burn marks as well. So I'm just saying, y'all, listen, the radiation wheat, it's my opinion that they're radiating the food. And there isn't any way, because you know I'm a thickums. And I told you I'm getting in shape with my homeboy, who's going to work me out, because I told you I'm going to listen to the men to work me out like G.I. Jane. I'm going to be G.I. FleurBrun. He's going to make me do some calisthenics. Big up to him. Calisthenics. I can't do pull-ups yet. I'm at least do a couple pull-ups, okay? I'm getting in shape, because I told you we going to be like the purge. You're going to be running. Run, Fleur, run. You know what I mean? So I'm getting in shape for this, but there isn't any way that you should be able to lose 5 pounds of pure inflammation and water weight. There isn't any way. You know what I'm saying? How are you losing that weight? Because as soon as I stopped, you lost 30 pounds. Congratulations, Marshmallow. You're going to have to change your name, Marshmallow. You're not going to be Marshmallowy anymore. Big up to Marshmallow, who lost 30 pounds. Go ahead. Don't say lost, you shed, because when you lose something, you always find it back. I learned that from words the other day, right? Be careful saying lost, because that means it could be found. You shed. Congratulations, Marshmallow. You shed it. Go ahead, mama. Go ahead. Let's not forget the frog. Listen, I'm still a trans frog, but I'm gonna be translucent in a minute. You ain't gonna be able to see me. You know what I'm saying? Calisthenics is better to do. I think calisthenics in itself is better for the body, especially for women's sport. So, you know, forms of calisthenics, I'm a dancer. So doing like Pilates gives you the best body, and dancing. Swimming is a great thing as well. I think for women, we gotta be very careful in how we engage with our body. In calisthenics, you actually build better muscle. It's like more long muscle, and it helps you burn. So I'll be doing that. You know what I mean? I gotta listen, y'all. I gotta try. You know, I'm thick, but I gotta be able. You know, it's cute to be thick when you can lie on the couch and just enjoy yourself. But when you gotta I gotta be a little quick. You know what I'm saying? I gotta be able to run up some stairs and get on a bike. So you know, being thick at a point when you going into war times, that isn't that ain't the right thing to do. So I just say that everyone be really careful with your water sources. I would really, because most people filter out their water with certain things, but are you filtering it out from radiation? Like, that's another conversation. We're gonna have that conversation on Thursday on Zoom. Can you put that in the conversation? We're gonna find ways to avert radiation that comes through the waterways. There's a way to do it. So I'm gonna have to figure out. What to do. We always figure it out. We got to figure it out. And also on Thursday, who's ever joining in, we're doing because we know on the 10th, they're probably going to do a ritual on the 10th and 11th. We're going to do our protection ritual with our candles. So whoever's joining us on Thursday, that's what we're doing. So just I'll have everything that you need to bring in, because we got to do that. Because listen, the 10th after last year, the kicking off the New Year's, and this is a dragon. Shungite, good idea. Nicole has a good idea, Shungite. That's right. Zombieland rule. You know, there's this guy does this, I don't know where he does it. I love this. You know, you guys see it all the time, right? They have these great classes. I like to dance. I love dancing. There's these I think it's in Atlanta. You guys have the best. Let me big up to Atlanta, Georgia. I get jealous. Let me tell you. Can I confess something? I'm really jealous. Y'all have like the hair washers who like put the steam on your hair and the herb bath, and then you guys have the workout classes where these sexy guys are like doing dances and you do like hip hop when you're doing a step. I get jealous of y'all. Did I ever tell you that? I am. I'm really jealous. I see it. I'm like, why the heck didn't I move to Georgia, for God's sake? Maybe because the men are, you know, and he was masculine. He just made you want to work out. You see him, like, some of you know what I'm talking about, right? When a guy makes you do the dances. Oh, also, back in the days when we had copper pipes and also silver pipes, that also averted the radiation in the water. Thank you. Some of you have some great ideas. Yeah, so whoever's in Atlanta, Atlanteans, y'all got some fun stuff going on over there. That's the only thing you know, we had some good stuff, but Atlanta people like to have fun. Yo, yeah, you look real masculine, but I didn't say he was masculine. He just looked masculine. You never know. I mean, Atlanta got some things going on over there because they putting stuff in the water source. I talked about the gay bombs. Y'all get insulted. Look it up. See, the problem is that you think that I'm disrespecting you because you're a gay man. That has nothing to do with it. But if you found out the only reason that you're gay is because they weaponized water and chemicals to bring in that that disposition within you in your mother's womb or outside the womb. So don't get mad at the messenger. I would sue the government. This is my personal thing. If you are a homosexual male and you live in Atlanta or places where you feel like your mother was being, or Flint, or your mother was being chemicalized and your disposition, and mothers, if you have a gay son that's 20 years or a little, like up to 30, I would sue the government. Because I'm telling you that they have those things. They did them in Afghanistan. They did it in Vietnam. They did it in a lot of places. You just think I'm saying it to be disrespectful. It isn't the natural disposition for men to be with other men. That is a fact. It isn't the natural disposition. But when you have it at a heightened amount, like when a number is like boasted up out of the blue, you know that it is most likely being helped along with some form of bioweaponry. Just call, you can look it up. You can look at them and see what they've done. So you just really in itself, you have to understand there is an incentive to having men being with only other men. First of all, it's for population control because they're not having babies, okay? And also, it makes men more feminine and less likely to protect their tribes or their neighborhoods or to protect their own children. So it just works for the government. So that's what I'm saying, them pushing it, you have to realize I'm not attacking any gay men, but I'm telling you, if it is working in accord with the agendas of the government, you gotta ask the question, why? Gotta ask the question, why? It isn't a natural propensity for men to be with other men. And also, if you look at the men that are very feminine, they have big bum bums, they have breasts. That means that they've been chemicalized as some sort of bioweapon that have actually changed their physicality. Men shouldn't have big bum bums. Even brown men, they have muscular bum bums. Listen, I grew up with men that are very masculine. Okay, so our men in the parks, like when they used to play basketball or sports or football, they had nice, round, bums, but very masculine, like very muscular. Like thighs were muscular. Woo! I love growing up in Generation X, y'all. We used to go to the park, and that was like a buffet. Woo! Thank God my parents raised me with some ethics, boy, because the men used to have no shirts on. It smelled like pheromones. You just, oh my God, as a young teen girl, boy. It was like, big into Generation X, when we used to go to the park, when guys used to play sports outside without their shirts. Holy, especially you beautiful brown men. Y'all are like, I love y'all. You just the most beautiful men in the whole wide world. You are. looking at y'all in your prime, the smell of your pheromones, you coming all glistening, you know what I'm saying? Your stomachs were rock hard, shoulders all nice and stern, your legs, you know, sometimes you got that basketball, some of you used to have bow legs. I'm sorry, y'all. Call me a little, I miss those days. I'd call me what you want. That's why when you call me a lesbian, I'm like, you just don't know. Sitting there watching, as a young girl, I didn't even know what my body was going through when I smelled y'all playing sports. Like, we would just go and sit and watch sometimes on the bleachers while y'all was smelling, like y'all playing basketball, and just hearing you, like, you know, the sneakers, like, sketching on the court, watching you jump and seeing the sweat glisten down your back. Woo! And I know my Luna girlfriends too. You remember the guys used to play hockey and stuff? Listen, I don't know. I'm sorry. I apologize. If there's children on here, I apologize. I was just having a flashback. I don't know. I don't even know if you guys see that. Do you guys see that anymore? Maybe I'm not in that age range. Do you guys actually see FleurBrun after dark? Do you guys actually see men play basketball like that anymore? Is that happening still? Because I grew up in Mount Vernon. It was at Hartley Park. Anybody see that anymore? No? Oh, darn. Darn. Well, we had the best childhood. Listen, y'all. We had specimens. That's why they had to feminize our men, because they were just like the best specimens ever. Woo, boy. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, let's change the topic. I can't. Hormones, you know. Oh my God. Anyway, so we're talking about the water and all of the actual infiltration. So I'd say this. I would be mindful, and I love some of the suggestions that everyone stated on here to try to avert from the radiation, but I really challenge you, because I could be wrong. It's my opinion. I could be wrong. I would test your water for not just chemicalization or you know, forms of like mold. I would really test for certain kind of molds as well. You can do testing for that. I would test things. And also for those who are still engaged in eating all kinds of things that come from silos, like rice, you should be washing your rice. You already know your beans. You should be washing oats, are the most toxic because they have oats. That's why you have a lot of infiltration with oats. Oats have a lot of especially spores, because they get a lot more moist. So oats, you got to be careful too. So I just would be careful with a lot of the things that are in silos. Pay attention to that. Also for your little ones. Mommies, for those of us who had little ones, make sure that with your little boys, we suggested this with little boys, you have to make sure we don't let them have certain kinds of water bottles or things that have a lot of estrogen. Make sure that they're eating things kind of like, because with boys, because of the way that they're set up, make sure like if you're doing a meat, doing it from a more holistic place, farms that don't give their animals soy. It's very important, more than anything for boys, to make sure that your sources of meat for them and eggs are coming from sources that aren't engaged with soy. You can purchase them. They're going to cost you a little bit more, but you're going to have a very masculine little boy growing up who's going to have natural propensities. And don't let the educational system feminize your son. The fact that he doesn't want to sit in a chair all day, please don't label your children as ADHD, as not being able to sit still. A natural, healthy boy doesn't sit still in class for 8 hours. Doesn't need it. And then glass bottles, thank you A2, glass bottles I bought glass bottles when I was pregnant. Glass bottles for the babies are great, because if you're nursing, it's fine, but make sure even nursing moms, you have to refrain from eating things with soy, because that soy leaches into your milk. So make sure if you're nursing as well, you think that you're safe. You filter, your breasts filter out most of the milk, but you want to make sure that you're also getting proper nourishment that's soy-free while you're nursing, especially little boys, okay? So make sure you're doing that. And definitely everybody needs to get their iodine up to par. You could test your iodine. We talk about it all the time in Zoom. That's important for you to do. Paying attention. Okay, if you want little masculine little boys, then you have to, as moms, you cannot go to Walmart and expect to get your children healthy food from Walmart. Okay, Walmart is the biggest pimp pusher of soy. Okay? So going to Walmart because it's cheaper, it's going to be more expensive overall when you have little children that have other issues. okay? Skin issues, hair issues, that has a lot to do with the weaponized food. And you can go and source out meat places, go to farms. I know they're attacking the Amish. If you have access to Amish farms, save up your money. Stop buying like clothing from Temu. We talked about the nanofibers in a lot of these cheap clothing. You guys are going to like Temu, Shen. You know what companies, those are coming from Xinhua. Why would you buy any clothes from China? You shouldn't buy anything that's sourced from China. They have nanoparticulates in the actual fiber of the clothes. And please do not put non-organic fiber on your little boys. I'm telling you, moms, someone said they can't afford it. Yes, you can. You listen, as mothers, it is the natural directive of us as parents to want the best for our offspring. That's your future. That's your grandbabies. You take the time, like, oh, maybe you can't do certain things, but that's not the point. But you make sure your son will be healthy and your daughter's healthy for the long term, so your grandbabies are healthy. You remember, your little girls are carrying their eggs. So remember, us as mothers, when we carry our little girls, we carry 2 generations. I carry my daughter and I carry my grandchildren because she has her eggs. You have to make sure that the girls are healthy. They aren't doing weed and all that stuff. Weed is why most men are actually feminine actually now. They chiefing all the time, and chief is feminine plant. They're taking all that and it's causing health, and their wands aren't working. Listen, I talked to a mom the other day. Her 17-year-old boy has problems having a full-on erection. Now, you say, why does a mother? Of course she would know that, because her son is concerned for his health. He goes to the doctor, and the doctor's not telling him. He's not telling him, don't put your laptop on your lap. Don't put your cell phone. The doctor is another form of mind control programming agenda. He's not going to tell you the things to do. A lot of these young boys are putting their cell phones and their laptops on their genitals, and it's causing problems. And then if they took the Kukaraji shot, it causes circulation issues. So it's not going to get all pumped up like normally with blood because there's a lack of circulation. A 17-year-old boy shouldn't have an erectile dysfunction. He shouldn't have ED. And a lot of men are getting it younger and younger because they are eating soy, latent food. They're taking a lot of these drugs, these painkillers, all of these type of weaponized drugs over the counter. So it's causing nerve damage and also circulation issues. It's very important. Like, I shouldn't be like, this is why I say, be careful the people you go online. You don't hear men talk about that. You'll hear men talk about doing drugs, mushrooms, taking more drugs, smoking more chief. They're proud of it, but they don't tell you that their women are, listen, their women are dissatisfied sexually. I talk to some of the women of some of these men online who tell you to do mushrooms and tell you to do all this marijuana and smoke online. A lot of them can't even get their Johnsons up. Their wands aren't working. They won't tell you that though, but the women will tell us. We have to stop. We have to stop uniformly promoting drug use. Drug use is why a lot of our youth are mentally ill and they're physiologically aren't as strong as their grandfathers are. So when you keep pushing a culture of marijuana and pushing a culture of all these psychedelic drugs, they don't tell you that when you do all this ashwagandha, what's that stuff? Not ashwagandha. What's the stuff they do? Oh God, that psychedelic thing they do. I forgot what it's called. What is it called, y'all? You know the psychedelic thing they did? I mean, I got attacked. Ayahuasca, thank you, Yafi. They don't tell you that doing those things long term cause ayahuasca. Like, you'll tell, people will promote it all over the place, and then they don't tell you that years later people are suffering from mental illness, or that sometimes what it causes is like an opening into the orifice part of their brain that ends up making them depressed later on. A lot of these people keep promoting it. I would just question any channel that is promoting constant drug use. It's very sad. Ayahuasca wasn't intended to do regularly. And also, the fact of the matter is, it was an invitation that the plant kingdom would give to you, not you to it. So you have a lot of this whole culture of drugs, but they don't tell you, like the men are not telling you their genitalia is not working. Their wives are telling you. They're pushing for all kinds of men to have multiple women when they aren't able to satisfy one. Men don't even know the difference between giving a woman an orgasm and not. That's really sad. Back in the days, a man would know if we had an orgasm because he could feel it. And it wasn't just in the way that we acted, because a lot of women could fake the funk. It was the way that we put off an energy so he could register it, because he was in tune with himself. His higher mind was working. A lot of men are having sex out here, and women are, why do you think a lot of women want to be with other women? Because they're not having orgasms. I'm sorry. I hope there's no children on here, but it's a fact. You know, so men, I'm just telling you, like, women, we got things going on too, but men, really, what's going on also with y'all is that you've got to be more connected to yourselves spiritually. Spiritually, because if you are young now, yeah, you're 20 something now, you may be working, but when you get to like 35 and 40 and your Johnson doesn't work, a lot of men commit suicide, because they used to always having this facade of masculinity and using their wand as a tool to prove that they're masculine. When your wand stops working, you don't even know who you are anymore, because that's been the only perimeter of your masculinity. That's the only measure of who you are as a man. And then when it stops working, a lot of men want to commit suicide. And a lot of the suicide rate is really spiked right now because the Kukarachi shot had really caused inflammation and caused circulatory issues, and a lot of men's Johnsons aren't working. You know it's true. The C-stars on here know, because we talk. And it's unfortunate because men won't go and get help because they're embarrassed. And this is something we need to discuss. Fathers, discuss this with your sons. Mothers, discuss this with your husbands and your sons. It's very important. Our health matters. And if these are conversations that you feel really uncomfortable having, don't have children. Don't have children. Don't bring children into a world if you're uncomfortable having a basic conversation of their sexual health. You know what I mean? That's important. I think it's important. Like, those are conversations we all have to have. And because we're in an environment of toxicity, women also are having fibroids. They're having issues with their periods. Menses is coming. It's not coming. A lot of women are having issues as well. And it's because of this radiation and all of the chemicalization of foods. We can't just go out and have like a hamburger and fries anymore and be like, oh, we could just do that every other day and we'd be okay. It isn't like that anymore. The hamburgers and fries are all tainted with all kinds of stuff. Like the way that we used to have fun or have food, like we used to, those days are over. You have weaponized food that are being weaponized and grown and distributed by hostile foreigners who are basically killing off your reproduction. And it's affecting not just men, it's affecting women. And it's important for us, like, if you like certain foods, make it all yourself, make it from scratch. Like we were talking about chocolate. If you like chocolate, I like chocolate only, you know, when I get my menses. Like that's the time that I crave it. It's the only time I crave it. Make sure you make it yourself. It's so easy to make it with like cacao. You can make it and you can make it yourself. Make a lot of the things for your boys. If mommies, if you have sons, take the time to make everything from scratch. Like our grandmothers did, our mothers did. It's very important because we're going to have children that are really depreciated and won't be able to reproduce and give us grandchildren. And then you're going to regret that this conversation wasn't had. It's very important. You know what I mean? And because a lot of these channels, all of the things that are being pushed into the algorithm, that we're hearing all of these things, but all these channels that are unwavered and are being pushed, they are controlled opposition. They're controlled opposition. A lot of them, that's why you won't hear certain things. They won't ever talk about, and you know, and that's why I say I love men. The fact that you say I love men, I love functioning men. A young man should be functional, and you should want your males to be happy and thriving. If you aren't having these conversations and you're just going to Walmart or the grocery store and getting basic, you know, a lot of starch food, males do well, like even more paleo. Like if you want to get away from grains, like the same way I buy my dogs grain-free food, grain-free, why would we eat grains when it's being weaponized? You can go and get fresh Amish meat or meat sources that I've given before. I won't give them before. You can look them up. Places that are not, they're not putting vaccines in their stock of meat. They're not putting steroids in their meat. They aren't feeding their cattle corn and soy. If you're eating any food meat source and they feed them corn and soy, which is all of your Walmart meat sources, that is going to translate between when you consume it and what it does to our bodies. And I told you what it did to mine. Like just the fact that they're putting coffee when you go and get your coffee, and if you don't get a full bean and they're not watching for mold or for pesticides, a lot of the coffee is causing issues. So I had an issue, an allergy to the coffee based on the fact that it was already ground. It probably ground out with bugs and whatever, what have you, and chemicals and mold. Yeah, what happened? We used to go to the butchers. Remember back in the days, the West Indians still do that. Like if you go to like West Indian neighborhoods, Spanish, a lot of them, like in Brazil, we go to butchers. A lot of the time when you go to the grocery store in Brazil, the supermarkets in Brazil, they all have the butchers in the back of the store. So you generally will go, like even with Colombia was like that. Colombia, Mexico, I think is like that too. So it's very important. Oh, the graphene oxide. Oh, Jennifer's already getting, the graphene oxide is in meat as well. Yeah. And there's a way to get that out though. I found a way to do that. Halal stores are good as far as making sure the meat isn't unhealthy spiritually or traumatized. But halal doesn't take in consideration, you know, chemical free and so on. So halal does certain things, but it doesn't mean it's organic or soy free. So it's like, be careful. You have to ask. You really have to ask. And a lot of times they don't know. If they don't know what the feed is, then obviously you shouldn't be purchasing it there. You know, we have to be the change we see in the world. If you and yourself, you say to yourself, I want better, we have to do it. We can't expect, like you can't expect your teacher to teach your children values and morals and ethics. You can't expect your teachers to teach your children facts. They are weaponized social systems of MK Ultra. They are only going to teach the core. It's not like the teachers back in the days that would give you core and then they give you opinion. They bring in some of the things that they liked and some of them. That isn't the case anymore. Schools are weaponized with socially engineered information totally to make your children into drones and worker bees. Okay? That's their total motivation. The only education that should truly be of value is what you give to your own offspring. Whenever my children know things about historical accounts, I teach them that. That isn't a responsibility for the teacher to teach my children anything. It's my responsibility as a parent to give them information. That's how you chronologically give information generation to generation. If you allow others, especially hostile people who don't like your nationality, who don't like your color, who don't like your people to teach your children, then you are basically teaching children. That's why a lot of men don't mate people who look like their mothers anymore. Because they've weaponized the system to make men attracted to those that are the opposite and also come from weaponized backgrounds. So now you have men mating with women that are genetically hostile, mating with genetically hostile cellular memory type of women, and those children will come out to hate themselves. So it's important for even in the mating, you know, like the perpetuation of who should mate with who, that should come from you. And mommies, when we're healthy and we're happy and we tell our sons that we love them and we give them kisses and hugs and tell you how we value them, you know who they're going to choose when they get married? Do I have to tell you? Do you have to tell you? My brother chose his wife, and she looks almost like my mom. My cousins chose wives that look like my aunties. When you treat your sons well and you value them and you care about their feelings and you don't just tell them, I pay the bills in here, that makes them feel like they're not valued. Like that, especially in the hood, you know, when you tell them that they're not paying the bills, that you make them feel like they aren't valued. You have to give the love to your boys. A lot of moms are very abusive to their boys, especially in the hood. And these boys go out and get women that look the opposite of their mothers. And that has a lot to do with how the women show value of themselves in the household and also how the women aren't showing and displaying love to their sons. And, you know, that translates. And mothers, if your sons are getting with women that look the opposite of you, everything the opposite, it says something about you. It says how he feels about you, how he feels, how you raised him, how you gave him love. I'm not saying it's in every case scenario, but my loner girlfriends, they choose men that are very similar to their fathers, like I did. I choose men that look very similar to my father. I love my daddy. I love the way my dad looked. I love my family. I love my complexion. I love my hair texture. I love my body shape. I pick a man that was very similar to my family because he treated me like, my dad treated me like a beautiful, beautiful beautiful little girl. He treated me like, he gave me such reverence. There wasn't a man who could have told me how much he loved me other than my father. So I chose men who remind me of my father. So I'm just saying, like, this is not for me to dictate who you should, but I'm just saying, like, when you start seeing sickness showing up, it usually shows up when people trying to remedy themselves by getting with other people who they feel can remedy some of the pain or insecurity or self-loathing that they had or their mothers suffered from or fathers. So I'm just saying, you know, it's important for everyone to, we got to get it up right now, y'all. We got a lot of things going on. You got Texas, you got a false flag brewing in Texas. I hope y'all in Texas, be careful. You need to wear a gas mask going out here. If you want to go represent Texas, you better go wear yourself a gas mask. Because that's a setup in the making. Just what they did in January 6th or 7th. I think it was January 7th or 6th. Remember what those patriots went over to the White House? Okay? That was a setup. That was purposefully done. And do not think that you have any which politician that's going to work on your accord. You know, whether it's holographic pooping President Biden or it's Trump. Remember, it's they all in the same arena. Now, they're attacking Trump. So it makes me think that it could be an illusion, a setup to make him martyr him, to make him more likely to be voted in, because sometimes they'll do the controlled opposition. But I will tell you, look at who his daughter married. I always listen, I don't look at just the front. I look at the back. Because a lot of times people be like this. Remember this? What was it, Yayo? He was like this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Meanwhile, you looking here. Why aren't you looking behind them? I always look, like, even with family dynamics, I don't necessarily look at what you present as, because you could present, this could be a representative. It could be all different than what you have going in the background. I look at what's going on in Trump's family, who his daughter married, what social system is being set up in the background. That's how I know. I don't ever look at the front. That's a New York thing too. You sit on the subway, like if I'm driving a car in New York, especially in Brooklyn, big up to Brooklyn. But we were raised like that. I'm driving in Brooklyn. If I see a guy in front of me doing something crazy, what's the first thing I look? I look in my rear mirror to see if somebody's coming behind me to do something crazy. So when I see somebody doing something crazy in the front, the first thing I've been taught to do is look at my peripheral and look at my back, because that's usually when you really see the real. Okay? The distraction doesn't mean that that's what they want you to focus on. But what's going on is really in the back layer. So that's why when I see Texas being highlighted, go 700,000 going to Texas, I'm thinking to myself, how come no one's looking over in China, posting up on Taiwan's water, encroaching on Taiwan's water, posting around Taiwan right now, encroaching on their water, and nobody's talking about it. So meanwhile, we looking at Texas, but nobody's seeing how China's posturing right now. And also, remember that whole thing when we heard Alexa say that the World War III would be kicked off with China and sleeper cells coming to kill everybody in their houses? Starting in February and March? Well, holy cow, we got the Super Bowls happening on the 10th. We had that false flag happen with them lone wolf Chinese men killing off people, kicking off last year during Chinese New Year, first on the moon celebration. You know, if I was a betting woman, I would say that's who's going to kick it off. So I'm just saying, y'all, so I don't want to keep you too long. I hope this was helpful. Just pay attention. And I come over here and I'm really a representation of mothers with children because a lot of people say, why do you still come on YouTube? Remember, I came on YouTube before YouTube was a advertisement whore. Okay. I came on here with some really amazing, valuable people, that were encouraging because they were just sharing from their own perspectives. I come on really as a representation because I remember like Dr. Blair, Dr. Jewel Brookman, Dr. Lele Africa, which was like my professor's friend, Professor Jeffries. And let me say this, for anyone who's from CCNY or from Columbia University, Please, I know that one of the Sun Stars and Sea Stars, Sun Stars alerted me to Dr. Jeffries needing some assistance. If someone knows Dr. Jeffries, I would love to donate to him to help him out. He was my professor, and I feel really sad that I heard he's not doing too well. And he really needs help. He's older. We have to help our elders, y'all. I think it isn't enough for us to take the information and really revere these people and then allow them to die alone in their houses and not help them. I think it's our responsibility as their communities to really protect those who really brought us up, who raised us up. So if anybody knows Professor Jeffries, you know something about him, if you can give me a donation site and I can have people donate for this man was amazing. And the reason why I speak so eloquently, how I really had a mind that expanded further, and it was only one course I took with him, it was because of Professor Jeffries. And I really would love for him to, and all of our elders to really be taken care of. We shouldn't expect that other people should do it. It's our community, it's our responsibility, and I want to definitely make sure that our elders, while they're still here and when they leave this earth, they leave with dignity. Okay, so if anybody knows, I don't know his information. Some of you know from New York. If you know Professor Jeffries, some of you know who he is. If you can send his information and I can put it up and we can give donations to him so we can have like somebody come in and help him out, or I want to make sure that he lives well while he's here. Okay, as we should. All right. All right, y'all. So any questions? Any more questions? Anybody have anything? Lena, yes, Shadow King. Thank you. He's healed? Is he healed? Just let me know, please. I know he may be healed, but let me know if there's anything I could do or if he needs anything, please. What do you think about Malachi Z. York? I don't think I have one thought that's just about him. Like, I feel like he represented something from an alien, from an extraterrestrial point of view that frightened the heck out of the government. When he was building pyramids, he had the Nawapians, which still exist to this day. We know, big up to our sea star, Umi, Master Umi, who's also from his, she was one of his sages, one of his priestesses from his organization. I think what he created was amazing. I think what he did was frightening to the others. They did not want, him personally, what he did, I can't say otherwise, that whether he did something to children or not, I can't say that. You know, I've heard his sons, and I think that when sons make accusations, there may be some validity to it. But what I will say is that he represented something that was beyond what most people, brown people in this country had access to. And I think definitely, I know he was in contact with the other extraterrestrials. Also, I know that the fact when someone is arrested for child molestation or whatever the case is, they normally don't destroy their whole facility. Atlanta should have been up in arms. I'm really shocked. Master Umi showed us what they did to those facilities, those pyramids, those beautiful artworks, that wonderful energy that was over there on the 33rd parallel in Atlanta. I think it's very disgusting that when they arrested him for whatever reasons, I can't say otherwise, but makes me think it's really suspicious that the government went over there and destroyed all of his property. That wasn't their property to destroy. And no one did anything about it. Not one person, not one celebrity, not one athlete. And that's how you know all these people are under Handler. Okay? They destroyed it. If anybody want to look up and like, listen, if someone is arrested for child molesting or doing something to children, when is it that they go in their house and they level their houses? You never see that. They did that to his facilities. It's sick. Like, it lets you know that they were frightened. And also, sea stars and sun stars, you're living in a land of Satanists. The beings in this country, this is a Satanist country. It is a Messianic, devil-worshipping, satanic, Illuminati Zionist country. You must know, like, when every country has its base religion, like, you go to the Middle East, mostly it's under Islam. You go to Israel, it's under Judaism. You go to other places, they're Christian. We are living in a country that are satanic, Messianic, devil-worshipping, children-eating, child molesting. And you cannot get mad at cartels without getting mad at the sources of why they're able to send all these children to this country. We are the #1 consumers of child pornography and child molestation and child consumption. You cannot get mad at cartels that are just benefiting from trafficking children to the #1 country, which is the United States, that takes children and eats them. The Zionists use them for rituals. Why do you think all under Brooklyn, you had all these freaking car seats and things in that tunnel under that synagogue? It was a synagogue of Satan. You cannot tell me that. And then when you have these people posturing themselves saying, oh, there were no stained mattresses stained with blood and fecal. Well, God darn it. That's like, remember when what's his name? The comedian said, Richard Pryor said, you gonna believe me or your lying eyes? That's what he said. You gonna believe me or your lying eyes? We saw what was underneath the ground. And it was a C-star who kept that footage, because that's why they went over there to concrete it. They didn't think we'd get that weaponized video before they were gonna create it, because remember, the Epstein disclosure probably told what was up in them tunnels. So they were going there to seal the tunnels. But unfortunately for the idiots who were up in that synagogue, they disclosed, they went in there getting broke up, but they didn't realize that the video was going to go out to the public. They were trying to cover it up for them. Don't play games, synagogue of Satan. Okay? And stop calling people anti-Semitic when you're not even a Semite. A Semite looks like me. A Semite is an Arab, an African. That's a Semite. Stop it already. Stop doing that. You go around weaponizing music in African American communities, brown communities, and you benefit from that fiscally, and you are satanic. You are Satanist. Only people who hurt children and promote it and purchase it and do it, they are Satanists. Stop it already. Stop making it seem like people are talking. No, not all Jews are doing satanic rituals. No, but the synagogue of Satan is. Just like you have Christians with the Catholic Church and all the diocese and all the freaking Pope doing all kinds of diabolicalness, doesn't mean all Christians are doing diabolicalness. It just means that in that sector, there hosts some satanic type of individuals. Stop it already. Don't listen to these clowns. They sit up here, they projecting on you. They trying to call you something. Meanwhile, they hide in their hands bones of children. Okay? Don't play games with me, devil. You're Satanists. And that's why the cartels are making so much money bringing children over here, because you are purchasing it. United States is the #1 purchaser of children of mass destruction. Of all these immigrants. You need to tell these mothers that if they send their children here, they're going to be used for sex trafficking, and then they're going to be sexually abused and mutilated, and then they're going to take their organs. And then if that's the worst, they might eat them. These are Baphomet, Satanists, Lucifer. They're not even Luciferian, because Luciferian is another sector. These are demons. Stop buying their music. Stop purchasing anything where they can weaponize, because you're basically giving them the funds to do these awful things to you. I'm sick of people saying, oh, I don't like these people, but you're purchasing their garbage music. Anytime you listen to that devil boy, what's his name? Little X, there's another X, Little Nas X. You listening to that demon, he doesn't even want to be a homosexual. They said he doesn't act gay enough. They're going to not give him a label. You listening to stuff like that. Who is the producer of that music? Would you ever hear any sort of rabbi or priest project or donate that kind of music to their own people? That's when you have to ask the question. When we ask questions and we question someone's ethics and morals, if they won't do it to their own people, if they won't give that kind of mind control, low vibrational music to their own children, why then would you purchase it from them? If that is not the garbage that they allow their own children to listen to and to engage with, why then are you producing money so that weaponizes them so they can purchase children and they can destroy your own children? Do you know in all these states that it is, if you speak anything about the synagogue of Satan, that they are weaponizing it so they can fine you and put you in jail and say that it's anti-Semitic? That is absolutely not true. There are a lot of beautiful Jews, more Jews that are beautiful than not, all throughout the world. Why are these one segment of Satanists trying to weaponize a terminology that they're not even a part of? Remember that movie from, what was it? What was he? A basketball player, right? He shared a documentary. It's called From Something to Jerusalem. Was it From Something to It was a Jewish movie talking about brown Jews, right? What was it called? Do you guys remember what the documentary was? It was a really good documentary. It was From Something to, God darn it. Does anyone remember it? So I forgot the name of the documentary. It was really good. And stop weaponizing. Like there's a lot of people that are Jewish that are wonderful people. Stop linking them. Kyrie Irving, thank you. Stop weaponizing Jews because Jewish people are not supporting all that other stuff. But the synagogue of Satan is. Okay, Kylie Irving. What's the name of the documentary, y'all? It was a really good documentary. What is it called? Because there's a lot of Jewish, like, do you guys know the documentary? Anybody know it? Kyrie Irving, but what was the documentary? I forgot, I watched it. I forgot what it was called. What was it called? Oh, Negroes to Hebrews. Okay, I'll remember, Negroes to Hebrews. Okay, it was a really good documentary. Why is it that the Zionists were all up in the documentary? What is it your business? We can watch whatever we want. Why are you trying to control what we do? Do you know that there's a lot of African and Arab Jews? Like, stop it already. Like, why can't we listen to things that are regarding to us? I know a lot of synagogues up in Brooklyn that are melanated Jewish people, that are people from Morocco, from parts of North Africa, from Ethiopia. There's a lot of Jews. So stop using terminology that has nothing to do, but they're Satanists. Okay? And they're not just in the Jewish community. They're in the Christian community, the Pope and all of them. They're in the freaking Muslim community. So stop doing it. They're all across, listen, they're equal opportunist Satanists. They're all up in every religious organization. Okay? They are Satanists. And they work on all the chords. They may have a religious front, but they're all Satanists. They have nothing to do with any religion. They're non-practicing Jews. They're non-practicing Muslims. They're non-practicing Christians. They are Satanists. So stop vilifying all of these poor people from South and Central America that have made an income off of the necessities of the West, eating children, using children's bodies for organ harvesting. We are the number one. Why does the Pentagon years ago, and this is what's crazy, why did the Pentagon years ago have all this information regarding child pornography all up in the Pentagon and nobody talks about it? Where are all your people talking? Where's your intellists? You know why? Because a lot of your intellists are also child traffickers and also perverts who masturbate to child pornography. A lot of these men go out with children that are 12 and under. A lot of these people are pedophiles online. A lot of them are, or they support men who are pedophiles. They may not even be doing it, but the fact that you have friends and you support men having children, sex with girls that haven't even developed a breast yet, you are part of the Satanist sector. And do not let them fool you. And they are trying to fearmonger you. And if you support music that these demons are making that are hurting your children and causing them to be homosexually imbalanced, that is your fault. Stop promoting that in your house. We listened to great music back in the days that was healthier for our children. Stop it. You're supporting the synagogue of Satan. Okay? You're supporting it. If you eat from organizations like McDonald's and all these places that are supporting child trafficking, genocide of children, you are part of the synagogue of Satan. When they basically took Kanye out, Kanye is gone. When they took him out, He was talking about all these corporations and who's at the head of them and their backgrounds. It's interesting that nobody talks about what background Epstein came from, or Weinstein. They're all from the synagogue of Satan. Nobody talks about that. These are not just men, they're from an organization that supports that kind of craziness. And the freaking Pope, look at the Pope. The Pope looks like a demon. You have, listen, in South and Central America and the Caribbean, my God, a lot of us come from Catholic backgrounds. Everybody worships the archdiocese. Oh, everybody wants to go to the freaking Rome to visit the Vatican. This is where they do the most killing of children. All the bones underneath. Oh, the Kardashians are a whole nother thing. Look at the Kardashians, holes of mass destruction. And this is being promoted to your children. And you sitting there wanting to look like these women? Kim Kardashian's mother and herself orchestrated a whole sexual video to promote and acted like she was a victim. No, that was her debut. The Catholic Church, listen, I was a Roman Catholic. We know, we're loosey-goosey Catholics. It's just insane. Like, I was raised by Catholics. My grandmother didn't know that the Pope was a child molesting bastard, that the bottom of his shoes are red to represent the blood that runs down his feet from hurting children. They don't know that. When you go and see these beautiful abuelas that are in Mexico who love, they love Catholicism, they don't know that, but they're victims of mind control programming that disallow them from seeing the truth of these demons. They wouldn't ever worship these bastards if they knew what they did under their churches. I don't care if they try to fine you from not supporting them. If you support music that hurts your community, you are part of the synagogue of Satan. If you support food franchises or coffee franchises or anything that supports these bastards that are in it on genocide or child trafficking, you are a supporter of synagogue of Satan. If you go and give the Pope money and give money every time you go to these Catholic churches, you are supporting child pedophilia. Nobody talks about the fact that all these priests were molesting boys up in the church. And mothers were giving children like it was safe. Like, when would you ever give your child to a grown man privately who is told that he is not to have sex? Men get hard-ons. You know that, right? Their wands get hard. What do you think happens when men, so-called men, go and say they're giving themselves to God? You think they don't get hard-ons? No, I don't drink Starbucks anymore, love. No, I don't. Whoever said, Fleur, I love you. No, I stopped. I stopped because I knew who Starbucks was supporting. Remember, even when it was chemicalizing me, it didn't stop. I haven't drank Starbucks since I've taken my own power and said I won't support a company that supports diabolicalness. I do not. So yes, I did before, but now I'm a non-supporter of Starbucks. That's why you see me drink. Dutch Brothers, but I made this myself in this cup. I make it myself. I stand behind my values. I do. Sometimes you don't know. When you know better, you do better. That's all. I won't support any organization that thinks it's okay to traffic children or hurt babies. You already know. I'm for the children. Before anything else, I'm for families and children. So I don't just talk about it, I be about it. And from a little girl, I stood on my values and I will stand on that square. And there isn't anyone who tells me that I cannot support something or non-support something. It is my choice. Don't let these bastards, these satanic bastards, fool you. Okay? They're all one. They're all Jesuits. They're all one organization. I don't care what background they say. I don't care if they say that they're orthodoxy what is it in Greeks? The Orthodox Greeks, the Orthodox Greeks, they're in that segment too. The Orthodox Greeks, the archdiocese up in Rome, Islam, Islamic faiths, like any group of people that subjects women and children to violence or to forms of mutilation or destroys them or thinks it's okay to indoctrinate them against their will. Those are all part of satanic groups. A man loves his children. I know many of Islamic men who love their children. They wouldn't hurt their daughters. They wouldn't subjugate their daughters to marriages that are against their will. Those are healthy. That's what I'm saying. When we talk about religions, you got to realize they want you to blanket and cool everything. But you have to understand that under each of these systems of religion, there's always these weird kind of sickos. They're all Satanists. So they hide under the religious organizations. So that they got to be careful. So when you say something about Jews or people from Muslims, or there are blankets of people in those organizations that kind of follow those practices, but it's not all. The majority of people who are in these organizations do not know. Like your grandmothers and they don't know. They don't know. So we can't, like, when I talk about the synagogue of Satan, they're all in it. Protect the babies. And y'all, if you didn't know, little brown girls are being kidnapped because they want their eggs and they want their organs. Protect the brown babies, all babies. Because it's happening in Europe. I don't want to even talk about what's happening to my European family. I don't even want to talk Africa and Europe. The other day I was crying. I said, I got to pull back. I got to bring it out, because in Africa, what's happening in the Congo is absolutely horrific. None of your so-called intellists are talking about what's happening in the Congo. It is so heartbreaking that you can't even tolerate. I can't tolerate what's happening to those people over there. It's so sad. It's so sad. I can't, as a mother, all you can do is extend protection or love or frequency, because it's very hard to watch and see. All children's lives matter, y'all. And when any group of people devalues another child's life, you know that they're demons, they're Satanists. When they devalue a child's life for how they look or their religion or their complexion, or their sex, it's because they're demonic. We have to protect the children. We have to. As a mother, I don't care where your child comes from. I don't care if she's from Sweden. I don't care if she's from the Congo. I don't care if she's from Palestine, Israel. I don't care if she's from the Caribbean, America. If your child is being harmed, and it is right in front of me, I will do my best, my 1000%, to protect her or him. That's my directive. Like, I came from that kind of healthiness. There isn't anything like what happened in Iraq when 9/11 happened, and we know that was a setup, okay? So they create a diversion to give them an excuse to go into another country and genocide the people. No one talks about the devastation that Iraq and Kuwait had experienced in Afghanistan from the hands of United Fakes and other countries who supported it. No one talked about the amount of people that were devastated, just traumatized, trauma programming, how depressed they were. Nobody talks about that. War isn't war. You can't be in a war with the people who can't protect themselves from you. That's not a war. That's called genocide. If you have a group of people that have absolutely zero defenses and you are weaponizing all of your amazing technology, it's because you're a genocidal maniac. You're using an excuse to go in and kill people because you wanted to do that anyway. Okay? Don't get me started, y'all. I'm gonna get all round up. Okay? I won't be supporting anything. Okay? Quiet Weapons for Quiet Wars. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great book. But anyway, y'all, I don't want to get amped up. Listen, I am an actor. This is a skit. I'm a comedic. This is not true. I am anti-zero. There isn't anything that you could say. This isn't a hateful video. This is a truthful video. And this is a video that every single channel should talk about the same topics. But the reason why they don't is because they're playing it safe, because they don't want their channels infiltrated. They don't want their little money to go away. But guess what? I'm about this life. Yes, Matt, is the supplements. You shouldn't be taking any supplements. If you take supplements, it needs to be sold from another country, that that the water source is healthy. And also, remember, all your medications are coming from Chinois. Big up to Marie. We didn't know that. We were on Zoom, and I found out from Marie that the actual medications, most of our medications are coming from Chinois' neck of the woods. Okay? That's coming from the neck of the woods. So a lot of times I think Paris told this. Paris at one point, Paris from the group had said this before. I think there was one of what is it? What was it? you know, your when you take it when you're pregnant. One of those was like Infiltrate. It was a company. I don't know. I forgot what it was. But Nature's Way. I think it was Nature's Way or something. I forgot. Paris had mentioned that. I don't remember what it was. But there's a lot of vitamins that have a lot of chemicals in it and metals. So I forgot what it was. So just this is my thing. The best thing that you could take are fresh fruits and vegetables that you grow yourself, or go for places and farms that have a lot of integrity. There's not much you can get out of. If you're feeling sick, get the heck out of the country. If you're feeling really sick and your body is fighting you more than you're fighting it, then you need to leave and give yourself a little reprieve. Because a lot of times what you don't realize, like I realized when I didn't do the wheats, I got the wheats. Nature's Bounty. Thank you, Empress. Nature's Bounty. When I wasn't feeling well and I took out the wheat and the coffee that was ground, I felt better. So it's important for everyone to say, like, listen, the United States is taken over, y'all. And it is taken over by nefarious foreigners that are trying to kill the people who are from the States. This is a loop, y'all. We're in a simulation, and the simulation is going back through a loop. Remember when we had the colonizers come here and kill off the Indians? Well, now we're the Indians, okay? So now the colonizers came in, the Shinwa and the others, the host of others, have come in here to kill us off, okay? It's a cylindrical pattern. We're in a program. It's just going in a loop. Now we're the natives that they're trying to get rid of. You know what I'm saying? We in that territory now. If you stay long enough, you end up being on the reciprocation end. You know what I'm saying? Get out. If you're not feeling well, I always say, like, one of our sea stars went over to Jamaica. Another sea star went over to over to Colombia. Get yourself some fresh air and some good food. If you're feeling really sick, if you're feeling unwell, I always say take a break. Mexico has some wonderful places. Let me say this. I know that they're demonizing Mexico, and not all Mexicans are cartel. I'm not saying there's not a lot of that, but you cannot demonize Mexico when you can't demonize your own country. We got the biggest cartel called the United States government up in this piece. You cannot talk about the cartel in Mexico when you can't even acknowledge your government is the cartel here. Okay, so stop vilifying Mexico for the very thing that your country is the one using everything. So stop it. Mexico, gratefully, is a safe place. You can go there. There are beautiful places. Some of the most magnificent people I've met in Mexico. If you want to go to get a little reprieve, go to a place, don't go and do drugs and so on, because you're going to invite the demons to you. But go and have a good time and get yourself, just come in where, get yourself a little fresh air, some good food, and some really beautiful people. A lot of the abuelas that are from Mexico, big to our Mexicanos, have a lot of the old ways. Also, if you're pregnant and you want to have healthy babies, giving birth in a lot of places where they have the best midwives in Mexico, the best. And Colombia has a few, then take a little bit and take time abroad, okay? It will just give you reprieve. If you don't feel like going into South America, Africa has some plenty of countries that are beautiful. The Caribbean still has some beautiful places. In Jamaica, one of our girlfriends was just, Haru said they were in Jamaica too. They were just in Jamaica, had a wonderful time in the grill. Caribbean islands still before the pole shift, it's a wonderful and also like New Iceland, Norway, Holland, big up to Sweden. Those are places that have really fresh air, really good food, healthy food. So if you're feeling like you're being inundated, this is just my recommendation, maybe because I'm a Sag, I travel a lot, I come from foreign people. Take a little break with you and your children, your husband, and go take a little break somewhere else to get your body back together, okay? So there's places in Europe you could still go to. Europe has some magnificent places. They have more standards on health requirements with food that they distribute to their people, because they're not trying to kill everybody off. Go and take a little break and save up a little money. Go in and get your endocrine system, healthy again. Go and do something that brings health back to your body again, okay? And you'll think a little more rationally. So you don't have to go into South America if you don't feel comfortable, but you can also go to Europe. And some of you in northern part of Europe, also and also for some of you who are scared, who are in the northern hemisphere, northeast, you can also go into Canada. Canada, though it has Trudeau, which is a devil of mass destruction, it doesn't mean you aren't able to go into Montreal. I love Montreal and Quebec. It's very cold right now. I wouldn't say now, but you can go into, Canada doesn't have as many chemicalization of their food, and a lot of places don't have chemtrails. You can go and drive over the border. I've done it from Vermont. I love Vermont. Drove over the border and go over and spend a little time in Montreal, Quebec. I love that because I'm francophonic, so maybe I have a preference to going to a French part, but you can also go to the other part. So just to get a little bit of a break so that you aren't chemtrail. The chemtrails are messing with your endocrine system, and also you need fresh food and fresh water. If you go into countries where there aren't inundated with tons of chemicals in their water, you will have, your system can recover. If you can't, you have to take breaks. If you're going to stay in the United States, listen, we're in a war right now, and it's about to kick off. When the Chinois go buck wild, you may not even be able to leave. I don't even know if they'll take our passports. But for now, you can do so. Take your family and take them out and get a little bit of reprieve, okay? There are countries that still have healthiness. Not every country's at war, okay? And, you know, like I said, you can go places and just get a little bit of a break from your family and yourself. Go get some fresh water, peace, and just, you know, recover. Because you in an all-out war. If you're going to stay for the war, you got to be in shape. Like, I'm working out. You know, I like to be thick. I like to, you know, enjoy food, you know, and everything. But, you know, we gotta, you know, we have to be prepared. I'm a mother. I'm the matriarch in my family. I am the stand for my tribe. I have to be the healthiest, you know, mind, body, and spirit. And I have to be able to, you know, I can't just talk about it. I got to be about it. I got to be a great example for my children as well. So, you know what I mean? So I just suggest you do the same. So just get a little bit of a break, y'all. Okay. And do your research on the different companies. There are some great companies in the Midwest that do sell non-infiltrated food that aren't putting, yes, pine needle tea is very good too. You can make that. It's really good for you. You could get meats that aren't pumped with cucarachas. They don't put shots in them. They aren't feeding them soy and corn. You can go and it's a lot costly because a lot of moms will say they can't afford it. But if you can do your hair and get fake eyelashes and fake nails, then you could, you know, it's all priorities. You know, I'm not doing my hair. I cut my hair. I don't do my hair. I'm not doing nails. I'm not putting makeup on, a master structure. I'm not putting eyelashes on. So the money that I normally would spend to do all those things, that's extra for me to spend on my family and myself. So it's your priorities. So if your priority is to look, you know, to do all that stuff, then of course you're not going to be able to afford it because your priority is just to, you know, look like something. Because when the pole shift comes, you're not going to be able to wear all that stuff. So why not prioritize? And also a healthy body, you don't need to put fake stuff on. When you're healthy, your skin should be clear. When you're healthy, your hair should be healthy. You shouldn't have to wear fake eyelashes when you have beautiful eyelashes. Actually, long eyelashes are really for males. Males are the ones who usually, in our species of human, males are the ones who usually have longer eyelashes. So that's really a transsexual trend. You know that, right? Really, that's in itself. Like men generally, genetically, that's who usually has longer eyelashes. I mean, you could always have it, but I'm saying if you stop putting on fake stuff and just eating well, because take the money and put it into good, healthy food, you won't even have to wear fake eyes, fake eyelashes and hair and stuff, because you'll look healthy. Okay? Oh, people put that stuff on when they're not healthy. When you walk around and stuff, like this woman said one time, like, I don't like FleurBrun because she doesn't wear makeup. Well, because you're a freaking man. The only person who would say that channel who said that about me, oh, I don't like women who don't wear makeup because you're a freaking trans man pretending you're a woman and a housewife, fooling everybody, acting like you're a woman, a housewoman, giving people advice on how to take advantage of men because you're a man trying to be a woman. So of course you're going to say you don't like women that are looking natural because that makes you look fake. Because if every natural woman who is genetically a woman stopped wearing makeup, y'all wouldn't even have a place. You only have a place, Mark, because women are wearing makeup. But if natural women, it just genetically, fully 1000% women stop wearing makeup, y'all wouldn't even exist. Okay? So that's why you didn't like me. Keep it real. If you want to be a man, be a man. But don't tell people you're a woman and a housewife when really you're a man. They know who I'm talking about. Okay? Don't play games. Don't criticize people for being natural and being a woman. If I was doing what's that stuff? Ozempic. Someone's like, oh, well, you know, at least you know I'm not pumping Ozempic in me because I'm not squared up looking like this, looking like I'm sick. I'm just natural. Listen. And if I have to work out, I got to work out. I don't mind going and working out, getting myself in shape. It is what it is. If you start doing stuff like that, Ozempic and stuff, y'all, you messing with your eggs. If some of you don't have children yet, stop. Refrain from doing stuff with drugs, because if you have eggs in you and you haven't had your children yet, you're basically messing up your egg stock. Women, we have all our eggs inside of us. So just know that when you take Ozempic and drugs and cocaine and what is that? Governmental marijuana, Ozempic, whatever the heck they're doing, what all that stuff is, you messing up your eggs. You want to have healthy babies, and then you wonder when the babies come, they'd be like, oh wow, you know, because we gotta, you know, I'm not young, I'm not having any more children, I'm not young anymore. I had all my children, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Be the change you want to see in the world. Get the name out your system. Birth control and so on, yeah. You look 50s, look like you're in your 30s. You're supposed to golden. That's why your name is golden. Yeah, you are supposed to. Aging is a disease. You know that, right? Aging is a dis-ease. You aren't supposed to age. You don't see lions turning gray. You don't see dogs. There's some dogs that do turn gray. But you don't see dogs. Now, they atrophy a little bit. They start moving a little faster. They get a little slower. But they don't turn, you know, they don't look, you know, you don't see lions. Like a lion can be older. The only way you know they're older is because they look a little skinnier or they look differently. But you're not supposed to age. Aging is a disease. People who age the quickest are not natural. They're GMOs. Those are probably NPCs or GMO people. GMO people don't last as long. People are genetically homogenized, like they're generations of homogenized people. They're not natural, so they age quicker. Those are the ones who pumping on them age, those age things. Like those age creams and all that stuff, because they got to do that because they don't last. People who are natural look the same. Okay, they look the same from the time they're 20 to the time they're usually 60 and 70. Only a little bit of difference, maybe gravity a little bit, but that's about it. You aren't supposed to age like that. Aging is a byproduct of our exposure to the surface of all these chemicals, and then also all of this food that's being genetically homogenized. It's destroying the way our bodies, you know, our bodies are fighting themselves all the time. That's why it's actually good to fast. You know, when we fast, we talk about fasting. It's very good to fast every once in a while. If your body's kind of, sunscreen isn't good, but some people need it. So if you do sunscreen, remember there's a lot of chemicals in it. You could do beaver. What is it? I love beaver. What's it called? Something beaver. Beaver's a good one for those who are very fair skinned who need sunscreen. You could do, what is it called? Little what is a beaver on? What's the name of the, I always share this. I bought it for, it's called Beaver. I forgot the whole name. It's called something Beaver. Or you can use aloe. Aloe's really good. Aloe's really good for the skin. If you're fair skin and you require something on your layer on your skin, aloe vera is amazing on your skin. Fresh aloe vera. Always have that aloe vera plant around and you put it on your skin. It's a great protective. So you can do that. There's a lot of ways you can kind of protect your skin. You can do a little bit. I like to use a little bit of clay. Like you could do a little clay if I'm going somewhere because my skin looks like clay. I have clay. You know, my skin looks like a copper clay. So I usually take, like, when you see my face, it's not so shiny because I get shiny. I take tallow is really good. I like tallow. I take a little bit of clay and I like to put it, like, you know how you, like the women, Asian women use like rice powder. I use clay and I put clay on my skin. My skin loves the clay. It eats it up. When I was in Brazil though, big up to my Brazilians. Tudo bem? Tudo bom. I like to, in Brazil, they have this red clay, and also in Atlanta, you guys do too. But in Brazil, you know, we were driving around in dirt all the time, especially in Bahia. Bahia is beautiful, but in Bahia, they have this red dirt, and I would always drive and get dirt on my skin, and it made my skin like so magnetic. It was so beautiful. Like I was like, I crave like that type of clay too. So I love clay on the skin. Yafi, you guys have great clay over in Israel's neck of the woods. You guys have like the best salt scrubs. Like the Red Sea and the around that area, you guys have really good clay and salt. Really good salt for the skin. I love it. Okay? So those are great things. I love clay on the skin. So if you have, even if you're fair skin, get like a whitish, get like a clearish, like Dead Sea salt. I love Dead Sea salt. But get like a little clay if you're fair skin and just put it on your skin. My grandmother was very fair skin with red hair. So you know gingers, y'all burn. My grandmother, yeah, isn't it crazy? My grandmother was very redhead. So she used to put like a really beautiful clay. It was like a nice, what was it? Oh God, it's a French name for it. I forgot. Where's my Frenchies? It's like a French clay, but it's like very whitish. She used to put it on her skin because she used to get molds, and she put it on her skin. Looked so nice. It was just, it almost gave her a matte look. I forget. It's a French clay. My Frenchies may know what it is. It's old fashioned too. She used to do it, and her skin just looked really nice, really nice. She had you gingers, whether you're brown gingers or lunar gingers, you guys. It might have been a kaolin clay, maybe she used it. It might have been that. But gingers, you guys burn very much. So it's because your skin is very sensitive. You got that copper hair. It could be that the catalyst thing. So just make sure you cover your skin with clay. So I like clay, and I like aloe vera for skin. If you're somewhere where the sun is really, really, because remember, we have the sun simulator. I can't even say that our sun is real anymore, y'all. We got different versions of the sun. You got sun that doesn't burn, and you got sun that burns. So you need to put a little bit on your skin, because whatever's out here, the radiation, you should. Oh, the Dead Sea malt, the mud. Yes, yes. That's really good. What happened in the Bronx, Shadow? Yo, Shadow, what happened in the Bronx? Yeah, BX, that's 13X. Yo, Shadow, you know that's 13X, right? B is for 13, and then X. So that's another X. Something may happen in the Bronx too. What happened in the Bronx? Shadow, what happened? Goddess, it's something beaver. I'm waiting for On to tell me. I don't know if On's back at work. I use it beaver. I bring it with me certain places. I have a little one that's a little more fair skin. Her skin is a little more fair. If we don't have aloe vera, I use that one. Arizona, Ray asked, Ra asked if Arizona is a cool spot. Arizona has some decent spots there. I'm not opposed to Arizona. No. For the pole shift, you know, it doesn't have anything extreme happening in Arizona, in parts of Texas. So I think if you stay a little more, what is that? Is that more north or south? I don't know where it is. If you go a little bit further in, like not Sedona, but a little further in, it's really a beautiful place to go. And if it sits well with you, if you do your astrocartography and you do well in Arizona, I really like Arizona. I like the people in Arizona. Oh wait, Shadow King says, the working of the plan was retroactive. It never happened. Oh, something happened? Something was about to go down? Green Beaver? No, it's called something Beaver. Where's On? On, are you here? I think On's at work. It's called, I'll put the name on afterwards. It's called something Beaver, y'all. Oh gosh, I wish I could remember. It's really good. I love their company. Oh, oh God. If On's in here, if not, I'll put the name later, y'all. Just remind me the name, because I'll put it. I have it inside. I carry it sometimes. Like if we're going to South America and it's really hot, I always carry it. I have a fairer skin. Wait, On, put it in the thing, On. Text me the name. On is texting me now. On, text me the name of the beaver thing. I'll tell you, Sea Stars. Yeah, Arizona is really quite lovely. I told you about the in Sedona, the rocks eat your pain, eat your sadness. They eat it. So you can go there and clear yourself in Sedona. I told you, remember when I was there? It eats your pain. Actually, we're going to take a drive there one of these days. I got to drive over to Sedona. I love Sedona. But I don't stay there long. I let the rocks take away any sort of like anything inside that's negative. They eat it. So you want to go there for like maybe a day or two, and then no, it's not beaver dust. It's not green. I don't know if it's green tea. I'm going to give it to you. I know everybody's waiting. I'm waiting for On to tell me. I have it inside in my packed bag. Georgia is crazy. Somebody said Georgia's crazy. She's talking about DMX. Who's talking about DMX? DMX. Where the wood, where the hood at? Da-da-da. I love men from the Bronx. I have a thing. It's like a thing. Oh, let me stop. We're going on today. Your daughter eats red dirt? Red dirt is, I like the way it tastes when I was in Brazil. It goes on me. Yeah. During my pregnancy, I like to eat, it's the weirdest thing, I like to eat sand. I know it's crazy. I like to eat sand, and there was something else I really liked the last pregnancy. I like sand, and there was something else I liked. I like tomatoes a lot with my last pregnancy. I like tomatoes, a lot of tomatoes. I'm talking about a lot of tomatoes, like fresh tomatoes. What else? I like sand, and it was something else that I could not stop eating. I forgot what it was. Yeah, you know, it's a form of pica. Yeah. So during the pregnancy, I crave sand. I ate it for like a while. I know it sounds crazy, y'all. Sounds insane. I like the taste of sand when I was pregnant. You get weird kinds of pica things when you're lacking. So, and when I went and redid my things in Colombia, I actually changed something and I stopped craving sand. The sand stopped when I forgot when it was. I took something else. I started eating something else. And I stopped craving the sand. But I changed something. I forgot what I was eating. Something, it was tomatoes and sand. Yeah, pregnancy does some weird. The best that food ever tastes is when you're pregnant. Ooh, I love food when I'm pregnant because it tastes like nothing you could ever. Tagine. Oh, I know, it's terrible. Tagine, you remember that, Susie? Oh, tagine on the tomatoes every day. I would just eat it. Like, I had to stop eating tomatoes because I thought I was going to turn orange or red. It was crazy. I just love the way it tastes, and I like sand. Yeah. I tried to eat something else, but I couldn't get it out my system. It cracked my tooth. You know that, right? It's crazy. Pregnancy is one of those most humbling things. Coconut oil on face protects it from sunburn. Yeah. Badger. It's Badger. That's what it is. Sharian found it. Badger. That's Badger. Yeah, it's by Badger. Sorry, it's Badger. That's the name, Badger. It has that's why I thought it was beaver. It's Badger. Thank you, Sharian Jackman. It's Badger, y'all. Sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. Oh, it was Badger. Yeah, that's it, Badger. You saw it? Okay, sorry about that. It was Badger. Why did I think it was a beaver? Badger. There you go. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for getting it. Yeah, I love it. It's really good. Coconut oil is good. I'm allergic to the coconut in the United States. It did something to me, but that could have to do with something that happened. That's another thing. Anyway, y'all, I could talk to you for days. Anybody have any more questions? Because you write me questions. Anybody want to ask me a question about something? I'm going to go. I need to eat something. Now I'm craving tomatoes. I like the taste of Badger. Yeah, Badger's it. Get the stronger one. If you have very fair skin, get that. They have integrity. I already vetted it out. So they have great integrity unless somebody else bought the company within the last 6 months. Because I always vet things. Every 6 months, I vet out a company. I'm about that life. I vet out companies every 6 months because every 6 months they'll change something up so you won't know. It's Badger. It's Badger, y'all. Is GA Georgia safe for during reset? I don't think Georgia's unsafe as far as pole shift, as far as physically, but the inception, they're coming for Georgia. Remember, it's not the pole shift isn't just the issue. It's not the pole shift. It's the people. It's the enemies that are going to come for the smart cities that are going to be set up. So it's not that Georgia's unsafe physiologically for pole shifts, pole shifts are moving rock or the plates. It's because of the smart city and the infiltration that's going to come to Georgia. So that's all. That's why it is. So Georgia has is beautiful, but they coming for Georgia. I know that for a fact. It's not going to be safe because Xinhua and the Ligue of Doom, they got plans for Georgia. That's why they got the smart city set up for there. Because when everything's said and done, remember, it's not, the pole shift is one thing, but they got pandemics set up. They got disease X. They got all kinds of, Ebola coming out their butt, Ebola coming out the eyes. They got everything. So they got the setup. They want you to have a reason to go and they want to have a reason to call you into their smart cities. And how is that going to happen? They got to create a pandemic or a purge where all this violent, all the criminals start getting buck wild. That's what they're going to do. So that's why it isn't safe. And I know people waiting for meet and greets. I don't do that anymore. I may do it, but my next conference is going to be in Brazil. I know it's going to be a while. It takes me a while, y'all, because I do it on my own. So my next UFO conference is going to be in Brazil. So save your pennies, y'all. You're going to at least have some fresh air. Okay, so it will be in Brazil. I don't know what part of Brazil yet. I don't know if I'm going to have it in Bahia or in the south of Brazil. So it's going to be in Brazil. So it's, you know how I get down. I'm a party person. So it's going to be great, healthy food, great conversation. I've got to get some great speakers to come. I don't think it's going to be very hard to convince them to go to Brazil. Okay. So, so it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know, you know, I think it might be post pole shift. So it might be like the VIP pole shift party, or it might be just before the pole shift. So it'll be a lot. It'll be a lot of fun. Oh my God. My dogs go crazy. It'll be a lot of fun. So people keep asking when the next conference is going to be or the meet and greet. It's definitely going to be in Brazil. Okay. So it'll be a lot of fun. I don't know when. It could be a year or even the year after. I'm not sure. Remember, I do it all on my own. There isn't any infiltration from Willy Wonka's League of Doom. You know, a lot of my haters like to find out they're too broke and cheap to try to come to Brazil. Yes, I said it. Y'all too broken and cheap to try to come to Brazil. So y'all will all be safe. Yeah, my haters like to talk smack. They ain't making it to Brazil. If they do, they deserve to come. You know what I mean? Yeah. It'll be a lot of fun. And then we'll have music. It'll be like a week. I'll show you some great places. I'll probably have, it'll be a lot of fun. There's people that I want to be speakers. I gotta ship my DJ down there. You know, I always have a DJ. That's just how I get down from. My conference is not like everybody else's conference. I gotta have music. I'm a woman of color. I'm musical. I'm Caribbean. I'm French. We gotta have music. I need to do everything with music. Okay, so, and also I do have my show that's starting for anyone who is an alien, who's in contact with aliens. If you are a reptilian, insectoid, whoever you are, a time traveler, you can contact me at goddessdell@gmail.com. I'm doing interviews now on the radio show, so you can come in and be a guest. I'll verify if you're telling the truth or not. So don't try to come on here and just don't talk about dreams. Do not call me if you're having dreams. I need real on time and real time alien contactees, or those who are aliens themselves, or those who are time travelers, or those who have had supernatural occurrences. But it has to be in real time. Please don't waste your time calling in talking about a dream. I'm not saying your dreams aren't valid, but I need people who are having it in real time, okay, to interview. So contact me at goddessdell@gmail.com. So y'all, I gotta go, okay? My dogs are harassing me. Fi is trying to get me to go up to take them outside, probably because Fi wants ice. Fi just obsesses with ice. You want ice? You want ice? I got a dog. Where the dogs, where the hood at? I should bark like DMX. Look at them, they're coming. They're harassing me, y'all. Oh, they're scratching me. Oh, look, they're on my back. Oh my God, I got my wolf pack. Okay, I gotta go, y'all. All right, so I'm gone. Please join me on Thursday. Please join me on Thursday. They're coming. Please join me. So cute. Please join me on Thursday on Zoom. We're gonna do our little protection thing on. I love my wolf pack. All right, I gotta go. I gotta take care of business. All right, so I love you. Wish everybody well. Look. That's Bat. Look. Okay. Okay, guys, I gotta go. I love you. Wish everybody well, and I see you guys on Thursday. Peace.